Vinny Tortorich here. Hey man, if you're a fan of Izzy, you might be a fan of me too. I'm the guy that gets people to lose a lot of weight. I have something free for you guys. This is no clickbait. Just go to vinnytortorich.com and there's a big banner. It's a free PDF, how to lose weight. It's an intro guide to NSNG at vinnytortorich.com. Go check it out exclusively for anyone who listens to Izzy Presley. Thank you.
RockstarLeatherworks.com is your home for badass rock and roll gear. Featuring 100% handmade leather bands, watches, cuffs, bracelets, and more, Rockstar Leatherworks has something for everybody. Whether you are going to the show or you are in it, you can find something to fit your needs. Choose from a variety of designs or create your own masterpiece. Their bands and watches are second to none. They also ship internationally. Who needs a stage to be a rock star? Check out RockstarLeatherworks.com.
Hey ladies, Sass Pants Designs will take that band shirt that everyone has and make it your own in a flattering, sassy, and simple way. There are one-of-a-kind tank tops, halter tops, lace-up tees, and tube top dresses already in stock. Check out the online store at sasspantsrocks.com and like Sass Pants Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for special offers and custom orders. Use the code IZZY25 for 25% off of your entire order at sasspantsrocks.com. That's sasspantsrocks.com. Let Sass Pants make you the envy of the party.
Replay Guitar Exchange is your premier independent guitar store. Being independent is good. With all of the major brands, including new, vintage, and pre-owned, you can find the guitar, bass, amp, or accessory you are dreaming of. From vintage to the newest models, Replay Guitar Exchange can help you find that perfect piece. They have industry veteran expert staff, all players like you down to the owner. You aren't just getting a great guitar, you're getting the Replay difference. Find them online at replayguitar.com and find your dream guitar today.
Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
Who wants an orange whip? Orange whip? Orange whip? 3 orange whips.
So you're bored, are ya? I've come here to break your monotony. Let me have my piece, because I'm shooting with this one, folks. I don't care, man. The unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary.
Why did you say that? Why? Why? You come out with stink like that? Poop. Poop mouth. Poop out of your mouth.
See, son? Old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Like a legend and an out-of-work bum look a lot alike, Daddy.
I've got a midget friend, an albino friend, and another friend who thinks Lord of the Rings is real. Together we call ourselves the Unfuckables.
Quinton is in! Let the fun begin!
Body touch!
God, you're an asshole, man.
I've never heard of Van Halen.
Hello, Hollywood. Hello, world. Hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you, and as always, good to be seen. My name is Izzy Presley, and it is time for another Drunken Summit here on another fucking podcast, coming to you live from beautiful downtown Burbank, Hollywood, California. Gonna have a great one. We are going to talk the rise and fall of 80s glam rock that we love so much. Get there in a second. Make sure you hit up all of the social media at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, the show page is another podcast on the Facebook as well. And make sure you subscribe to that YouTube page, and because we are recording video as we do every week. And of course, yes, you can donate to the show. Izzy Presley at yahoo.com is your PayPal. And also, I'm going to show you guys this, which I'm sure you guys know about, all my loyal listeners. The brand new Another Effing Podcast retro jersey tees are now available. $30, including shipping and handling in the continental United States of America. PayPal me directly, izzypresley at yahoo.com if you want one. Or we have more bundles where you can get the shirt, you can get the Roadie pack, which has the Tumbler, which has the Flask, which has the Zippo, and the dog tags, along with an autograph picture for $70. For $100, you get everything, plus a Zoom call with me. And for $200, you get all of that, and you get to be on the show. You could be on a Drunken Summit, $200. But if you just want the shirt, $30, What the fuck more do you want? All right, let's get into our great guest coming to you on the Michael Brandvold Marketing Zoom line. If you have a band, you need help with your radio presence, you need help with marketing and PR and all that stuff, hit up our good friend Michael Brandvold at michaelbrandvoldmarketing.com, and he will take care of you. He grinded his teeth learning from the masters of marketing, Kiss, and of course works with Ron Keel and Accept and Jason Becker, and the list goes on and on. And yes, you can find him on Three Sides of the Coin. Rayen, your video still isn't on, by the way. Welcoming for the first time from Blackboard Jungle. Very excited about this. A band that I saw in the mid-90s in St. Joseph, Minnesota at the Delwyn Ballroom, open up for Faster Pussycat, Britt Pennella. Welcome to the show.
How you doing?
Jake Perry from the Whisky A Go-Go. He's a fixture around Hollywood. You know him, you love him. Welcome, Jake.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here.
And he's an 80s geek like all of us, even though he's much, much younger than us, which is even fucking better. And coming back to the show again, Rayen Belchere from Early Ray. Great episode last week. Got a lot of great response out of that. So we are going to talk the rise and fall of 80s glam rock that we love so much. Last night I was prepping by watching Hee Haw, and then I decided I should maybe watch, I watched The Decline, and I watched some of the VH1 stuff, like when the Sunset Strip ruled the world, and Heavy, the History of Metal, the one where Janie did his I Hate Cherry Pie rant. Rayen, of course, hooked me up with Britt, which I'm so glad that you did. Britt, did you grow up in LA? Did you experience all this shit when it was starting? What is your history?
No, my main thing, I grew up in Jersey, and in '88, I used to go to this club L'Amour's, and we played as a kid, I played with Trickster, and I see and I went to this club L'Amour's to see to see Guns N' Roses. I wasn't cool. I never went to New York. And Ezio opened up for Guns N' Roses, and I didn't like punk. I mean, I grew up on Jovi and Rat. I wasn't into punk. And I remember sitting there with all these older kids, and they were like, Slash got on from the front of the stage, fucking Axl drove over our heads, and someone's like, they were fucking loose. Ezio was so much tighter. And I was like, I'm out of here. I'm graduating, getting the fuck out and going to Hollywood. And me and Jamie Scrapp just, by July, we were in Hollywood, just pushing a shopping cart, living at the Hastings house, like just wanted to be Circus Magazine. I grew up on just Circus Magazine dreams.
Yeah. Jake, what about you, man?
Well, I've always loved heavy metal. Just as a kid growing up, when I turned 16, my license plate was Dokken. So I still have that somewhere. Yeah, I just loved it, man. I feel like ever since I've been going to these shows, I've always been like the youngest person there. So just, making a name for myself, going to show after show. And I'm from Massachusetts. So I would, when the bands would come to Boston or New Hampshire, Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, I'd always go and just see, Doc and Rat, Winger, Warren, like, all those guys. So, and then I moved out to LA. I thought I knew everything about 80s metal. I had every tape, I read every booklet. And then I got my tonsils and my wisdom teeth out one summer. So I was just watching a ton of movies and TV, and I saw Decline of the Western Civilization 2. And my mind was blown. I was like, oh my God, Odin seduced? Like, who are these people? This is like my new Bible. So then I moved to LA. I tried to get a job at the Rainbow when I was 18. I called them up from Massachusetts, and they were like, we don't hire girls here or guys here. They're like, you got a pair of tits? And Mike Weber, the manager, said something like that. And then, so I moved to LA. I had a couple jobs. I worked for Pauly Shore, and I worked for Ridley Scott's production company. And I quit doing that to become a daytime waiter at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. So I made those dreams come true, and now I'm booking at the Whisky A Go-Go. I've been there for about a decade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If anyone who doesn't know,
hold on. What year was it when you turned 16 and you had Dokken on your license plate?
I was born in 82, so I was in high school. It was probably like 2000 maybe, or 2000, or like 1998, 99 or something. I don't really remember. Right when I turned 16, 17 is when I got the Dokken plate. And I had it for like a couple of years. So
Did you get a lot of shit? Did you get a lot of shit for that?
No, I went to an all-guy private Catholic high school, so nobody even knew what Dawkin was. It was a total like jock school. I was just like the one like cool kid with the. There's a bunch of cool kids there, but I just was the one like lone metalhead watching Growing Pains, listening to Dawkin. I love that shit. But
Well,
one time.
Let me ask you guys this, Rayen. We'll get to you in a second because you've talked enough in the last 2 weeks.
All good.
I'm just giving you shit. But being East Coast guys, were you more in tune with the East Coast bands, or did you love it all?
I think for me, just like Jake, I was sitting in a fucking room watching Decline of the Western. It was no different than fucking watching Star Wars to me. It was just like this far off land. I saw those guys as like fucking Spider-Man and shit. Just like LA was like holy fuck, like this can't be real. And then you got there and I'm like, what the fuck? It's still amazing, that rock and roll thing, like that movie, just like, and it was coming to life when you get there. You just can't. I almost got killed because Blackie Lawless was getting out of a car at the fucking Rainbow, and I couldn't believe he was real. And I just like saw it at Sunset, like him and CeCe DeVille having a fucking conversation, like it's sensory overload. This can't be fucking. That's like Spider-Man and Batman when you're 5 having a fucking conversation. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, Rayen, what about you?
Same story. I grew up on the East Coast. I was a metal kid. I told Britt about this on this podcast, but here are my original Motley Crue fan club cards when I was 9 and 10. That's Shout at the Devil, Fan Club, and Theater of Pain. And then they quit it. Britt will appreciate this. Had every issue of these magazines. Right? And then I'm a day one Metal Edge guy. Here's the first issue.
Holy
the second
shit.
issue.
Oh, man.
And in the same thing, I got infected by the decline of Western civilization. Everybody in that movie, even the ones I look back on now and laugh, are still legends. And, it's intoxicating. Being a kid from the East Coast, like Britt said, and all you guys were saying, the first time I came out when I was 19, it was before internet was really crazy. It was the late 90s and no cell phones and stuff. And it was when the Rainbow still had a no camera policy. I don't know if you guys remember that. They used to not let you bring cameras into the Rainbow. And I walked into the Rainbow as a 19-year-old kid, and I saw Vince Neil, Slash, and God, who else did I see? I saw somebody else that I recognized from John Lovitz, the comedian. And I was just like, this is the greatest place on earth. And then I go outside and Ron Jeremy's walking in and Lemmy's out at the back. I'm like, I'm never leaving. Nobody told me how expensive it would be to live there. But I was infatuated with the 80s rock scene from day one. Shout at the Devil, Kiss, Motley Crue, Van Halen, all the early stuff got me hooked. But Decline of Western Civilization made me go, I want to live there. I don't care if I'm hanging out in the hot tub with Odin or whoever the hell in the backyard. I want to go hang with those two.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, dude. I know exactly what you mean. St. Cloud, Minnesota, central fucking Minnesota, middle of nowhere. You see the videos on MTV, you see all that, then you see that fucking movie, and it's like this. There's no way this is real. There's no way this is real. It's like that's when I first found out about the Cat House, and just. The funny part about that movie, and I thought we were going to get into this later, but I mean, might as well get into it now because, we all have the similar story, is like Tough and Vixen are in there as these quote unquote unsigned bands, even though they were already signed.
I think we agree that we can agree we've all had the same gateway drug.
Yeah.
That's right.
Klein was our gateway drug.
I was always a fan. I always rooted for the underdog, and I started off as a hardcore kid, all like Gorilla Biscuits and Murphy's Law and all New York hardcore stuff, New Jersey hardcore, and then I just slowly got into 80s metal because it's like all these CDs were in the cutout bin, and then there was some program on MTV where I think it was the guy from Kix or Keel, and he's like painting the billboard, and like I was like, what do you mean? I was like, it was Cinderella. I was like, these bands are amazing. Why doesn't anyone appreciate them? And I just bought up everything because it was like no one was really buying it. It was affordable, and I was just like, why don't you guys? Why no one loves this anymore? Like, it's not bad. It's fucking amazing. And so that's it. I just got into it that way and just bought up everything.
Yeah, I think it was Mark Ferrari that was painting the billboard.
Not Brian Forsythe? Oh. Did you have to pick a team, Jake? Because I had to pick a team, and when I was going to school in the 80s, you had to pick, because we grew up near Old Bridge, New Jersey, the Old Bridge Metal Militia. It was like a fucking gang. You had to pick a gang, and I went with the Rat, Jovi, Crew gang, and you couldn't be in two gangs at once if you were in the hardcore metal.
No, my friends weren't as diehard like that. I basically have two other friends who got into it as well. And, you know, they'd be like, dude, listen to this LA Guns, Ballad of Jane. I'm like, no, dude, listen to this Brittany Fox. So, you know, trade some tapes back in the day. But
okay, yeah.
No gangs over here, though. I wasn't that old school. I think that's like a different breed, you know?
Yeah. We had the Old Bridge Metal Militia that would just
first generation metalhead.
Posers suck. I fucking fighting for Rat in my cutout Rat shirt. Seriously.
Well, yeah, I mean, like for me back in high school in the 80s is, you know, I had, because I went to a Catholic school as well. So it was the rock fans in that school were the quote unquote fucking hair bands, which
right.
I hate that fucking term hair band, but you know, everybody knows it is what it is. But my friends that I hung out with outside of school, you know, they were the fucking gearheads. And
yeah.
They listened to the shit. They listened to Metallica. They were listening to Megadeth. They were listening to some of that other stuff. And it's really how I got exposed to that, other than my first concert being Monsters of Rock in 88 and, you know, seeing Metallica and going, what the fuck is this? You know, in the middle of Dokken, Scorpions, Kingdom Come, and Van Halen. You know?
Yeah. My boyhood friend in 6th and 7th grade was this kid, and we were in the Crew, and he started taking the devil way too seriously, my buddy Steve Osheim, and he ended up forming that band Deicide. That was like 6th, 7th, and 8th. We kind of lived together, and he went full on fucking devil. But at that point, we could own the Maiden records, and Crew could coexist. You know, but once like Rat came out, it was a division, and Motorhead, you know, I mean, in Metallica, it was like pick a fucking side, man, die.
Yeah,
would you say Rat was like a little too poppy? That's why some people didn't like him, you know? Or is it because Motley Crue was like devil, Rat was kind of
yeah. That's why I said, what was even Shout at the Devil? Was it glam? Was it apocalyptic? There was no. He had no problem. There was no problem with Shout at the Devil. And when they played the US Festival, and they weren't televised on Showtime, but everybody saw those fucking photos, and it was like. Crew were just, I saw Crew with him open up for Ozzy at the Meadowlands in the Bark of the Moon tour, Wasted open for Crew. It was just like Crew were fucking fierce. They had that Metallica slot. There was like everybody, the fucking devil, man. Crew sold you that lifestyle, the devil, and everybody was down until it fucking, Rat was like what Piercy called fashion rock, and then it was like posers suck.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I love Rat. Love it. Oh, back to my story. When I was in high school, I'm driving home from high school. I have a Dokken license plate in my 91 Bonneville. I was like grandma's car driving home. This GTO comes flying by me. The guy in the passenger seat's going like this. As he pulls in front of me, his license plate, Rat.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, that's art to me. I mean, I have this thing now that I think Rat might have been better than Crew, but you couldn't get your head around five guys. The four guys in Crew were easier to get your head around, whereas you were smarter. Rat and Dokken might have even been better, but Crew sold me a lifestyle. First you're into the devil, then you're into motorcycles, strip bars, set. Like Crew gave you a lifestyle. Rat and Warren and Dokken didn't give me a lifestyle to latch on to.
Crew definitely progressed.
Yeah.
Well, I think with Crew, it's like in the 70s, the Kiss were heavy metal Beatles. And you can almost argue that Crew, I mean, not musically, but because you knew each member, they actually, you know, they almost had their own persona and vibe. You could almost call them the Beatles of the 80s in the hard rock scene.
Yes, because four guys, I've realized, I was talking with a friend about this. You can get your head around four guys. Five guys is wobbly. Even Izzy and Guns, it's wobbly. He quits, he's in and out. The tilt-a-whirl is shaking and never lands again. You know, four guys are like your fucking friends. You start calling them by the first names and shit, and you're fucking in. You know what I mean? Like, I love Jeff Pilson. He's my favorite one of my favorite bass players, but I didn't hear anybody going Jeff. They were going Nicky. You know what I mean? Nicky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And in
fucking Nicky Six.
And in Izzy Stradlin's defense, he was always the coolest fucking member of that band.
Absolutely.
No, Izzy Stradlin.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Guns is probably the best band that ever walked the earth in my eyes. I mean, but But I mean, yeah, he definitely was the concept. Certain guys, the concept. Certain guys, that's a whole fucking other 6 hours.
Oh shit! I mean, we got time. I can stream for 3 hours.
Okay, well, guns is like 6 hours for me. Is I mean.
Yeah, right.
Well, let me jump in. I just wanted to say, Britt has a great Metal Sunday show on his Instagram page, and I watched it the last 3 weeks after he had me on it. It's the funnest time on Sunday, so you guys go follow that. And he said something Sunday, and he just said it again, and I think it's my whole life I've wondered the Rat Motley mystery, and he's right. He's totally right. They did not service up a lifestyle. Poison did, Motley did, Kiss did, Van Halen did, Guns N' Roses did. All the bands that you can name that you're like, because even the most hardcore fans can't recall all their names. Just like Ace, Gene, Peter, and Paul rolls off your tongue.
Yep.
Vince Neil, Nikki Sixx, Mick Mars, Tommy Lee rolls off your tongue. Once you put that fifth member in, it just like jams you up for a second. But the lifestyle bands of the 80s are the bands that really took it to another level, I feel.
Right. Well, it's like you go back to the 4 or 5 member thing. It's like it's almost in the 5 member bands, except Guns. When you talk about those bands, you just go singer, guitar player.
Right.
So those are the two. We're gonna hit the chat room here really quick. Tall Bear says Holmes had water in that bottle. No, that was fucking really vodka. And if you don't fucking believe it, it was not staged. That was the fucking real deal. I know people who know people. Funny story about Chris Holmes. I moved here September 1st, 2013. So September 1st will be my 7th year. I was coming in from Phoenix, staying with one of my buddies, and I'm on that's the 10 that comes in from Phoenix, right?
I'm challenged with that shit.
Yeah, I think it's the 10. Yeah, it's the 10. Yeah. And I'm coming up on this fucking maroon Dodge Challenger, and dark out fucking windows, and the fucking license plate says C. Holmes. I'm like, there's no way. Then I saw a picture of him on fucking Facebook the next day, and there it was. It's like, holy shit, that was my first sighting. And it was in Arizona on the way here. I passed fucking Chris Holmes on the interstate.
That's awesome.
God.
I wish I would have known.
Isn't it weird how there's things we all like that movie? It's funny. I was just talking to the guy from Trickster. I'm going to pull this together. And I said, everybody latches to the motorcycle in the Trickster video. You go, oh, Trickster, the band with the motorcycle in the video. And in the metal years, there were certain fucking things like that pool, that scene just stuck. Odin. And that's with metal. Why are these things that stick and things that don't stick? You know what I mean? And that's it's weird. It's great.
Well, it's so funny. So when I'm hosting Soundcheck Live and Sean Duncan from Odin plays, every single time I introduce him, Odin, and I just keep doing it for like a minute.
It's magic.
Yeah, it is.
So Jake,
as an early LA metal band, Odin's so underappreciated. I think those guys are amazing. I love them. Randy's voice back in the day could hit all those high notes. Jeff Duncan's guitar shredding. Love them.
Yeah, I saw him at Gazzari's right, like you guys after I really saw that fucking movie, and then I was in it in LA seeing these guys, and some of them idiots. And then I remember I was telling this story where like I moved, my mom had just let me grow my hair. It's 88. I see Odin. My friends all start doing drugs, and like I'm out there to play in a fucking band. I actually brought a bass, and I'm outside of Gazzari's. And I'm starting to cry because I'm looking at a picture of Burnett going, I'm never going to be that. Why the fuck am I here? Those guys are rock fucking gods. I worked at Acme Supermarket back east looking at Rock Scene magazine at Tough and shit. And Tough looked like gods. I'm walking away. And this guy's like, hey, man, what's your name? And it's Stevie in his little cowboy hat. And he's not drinking. He's not fucked up. And he's like, come to the Tough Muff Mansion. And it was like, I probably could have given up right there. I was literally tearing up. This Burnett, it's unattainable. These guys are genetically correct rock stars, and that was like kept me in. You know what I mean?
That's fucking amazing. Rayen, you look like you had something to say.
No, you guys all finished my thoughts. It just goes back to all those bands in decline. It's just such I think it's such an underrated thing, and it's starting to evaporate. But the kids that came in the late 80s and the early 90s, mid 90s, there's still such a magic, to that scene. And all those bands. What was the Seduce? I even found the cassette for Seduce.
Yeah.
And I had the Detroit band. I don't know what ever happened to them, but yeah, all that stuff you guys said, you were finishing my thoughts.
Yeah, I think Seduce up until like last year, I know they were still doing shows here and there.
Right on.
Yeah, because they did a couple years ago. My buddy Alex Kane, that Britt, yeah, 'cause he was just on your show. He did a benefit for Ben Graves after Ben passed, and I was hosting it, and Seduce played at that. It's pretty badass.
Rayen, I have a question for you. Since you're a big Warrant fan, do you like it when your friends refer to you as Mr. Rayen Maker?
That's the first time I've heard that. That's pretty fantastic. I'm going to use that, actually. Is that all right?
Oh, do it.
Dude, I'm a big fan. Big nerd for that band. Big time.
Another influence, I mean, it's right behind me. This is what really got me in. I loved horror movies, and it was the Dokken Dream Warriors.
Oh, yeah,
dude.
I think that started it all. That was like the transition for me.
Well, how geeked out, because I know you drove down Sunset and turned right on Janice Avenue and saw the house on the left, right? I know you've done that before, right?
Yeah, of course, man.
The Freddie house.
I have like a dozen pictures in front of that with the fake claw. Like, I love it.
Did you guys ever hear Lynch talk about when they were doing that video?
Did he mention like snorting coke off the blade or something?
Yeah.
Or is that a rumor?
No, he talked about it. But then again, it's George, and George likes to rib. So you don't know if it's actually true what he's saying, but it sounded like a hell.
Robert Englund's a consummate professional, so I can't picture him like messing with coke. He was probably reciting Shakespeare. They might have grabbed the glove and done it, but
I mean,
who knows?
The early '80s, so you never know.
Right. It was '80s.
Yeah.
Going back to Rayen, like it's so cool that he covered Cherry Pie and did the apple pie. I thought that was so huge, honoring that band, because Warrant to me are like Boston. They just didn't. I mean, Boston are so big, but you don't know they're big. They're not Kiss. They just were fucking like, it's the fabric of like your life, for people older than us, like Boston. But Warrant were just so amazing. But once again, five guys, they crushed Poison. Their songs at the end of the day. But you just couldn't get your head around them as your friends. You know what I mean? I just never knew, all the dudes. I mean, I know their names, but
right. Well, I mean, yeah, they crushed Poison musically, lyrically. Fucking Janie Lane.
I think Janie's the best songwriter. The guy's so talented.
Yeah.
Fucking as a singer, as a vocalist, he's just unfucking believable, and he gets so much shit. And even now that he's gone, he still gets you. Oh, the fucking Warrant guy, Cherry Pie. Get the fuck out of here. Listen to the fucking music.
I cut you guys off. There's been a lot ever since we did the redo of the Cherry Pie and the Apple Pie. There's been quite a lot of mutual friends that are in metal bands and hardcore bands that sent me texts or messages being like, dude, I love that. Keep it alive. And I write back, I'm like, dude, you like Warrant? And they're like, fuck yeah, I love Warrant. Dudes in some metal bands I'm not going to name because it was confidential, but some bands you'd be like, there's no way he was a Warrant fan. And they was just like, dude, I had every record. And, I think that band, like a lot of those bands, are underappreciated. But us Midwest guys and East Coast guys could latch onto the vibe of Janie because he was from Cleveland or Ohio, and he kind of had that just a guy you wanted to go out and party with vibe. As a front guy, he was a monster. Crushed everybody. He could write. He could play everything. And, I, going into redoing the song, was wondering, am I going to catch a lot of shit for this? And I was, of course, up front, there's a few haters, but I was really surprised about how many people were like, dude, I'm so glad somebody, paid a little tribute to Janie because, he just kind of got left off, hanging off the edge, and the story kind of just was pretty dark. But so many people are kind of still rooting for his legacy to kind of have a happy ending. And so I know Warrant was one of those bands that people might not admit liking, but they still jam the fuck out when Heaven comes on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Rayen, let me ask you this. I should have asked you this last week. I didn't even think about it. Do you think, I mean, with the way the industry is now, do you think 10 years ago, if you would have did it 10 years ago, that it might have kind of exploded?
I don't know. I mean, people could say that now because we've had a great amount of interest and offers for the band, but we just can't go anywhere and support it, And my heart was in paying tribute to him, and bringing Bobby back, shooting a little bit at the Rainbow, kind of really merging the vibe of 80s glam rock fun with the audience that still loves that kind of vibe, which is the country audience. I'm just telling you that's just what it is. It's the country audience, is the glam rock audience. You see Poison shirts at Garth Brooks concerts just like you would anywhere else.
Right.
But bringing those two things together, I felt like we did a good tribute, and that's where my heart was. It wasn't in trying to make it a massive hit. And if it becomes something, as we're working it, great. I'm cool with it. But my heart was in paying tribute to that guy. I got to study with him when I first moved to LA. Avi Simon was my manager, which was his manager. He hooked us up with the right songs, and out like Britt said, I literally could have walked out of Sound Arena, Van Nuys that day, and said, "Send me the fuck home. I'm done, dude. I'm good." Like my dreams to my little 12-year-old self was like, "You got it, dude.
Yeah,
you rocked it."
Yeah, his song. Just to let you know, I've done some pretty cool DJ gigs. I DJ in a total different world. I DJ Jay-Z's party. Like I actually filled in for Travis Scott up here opening for Rihanna, and I got this gig where like the hip hop world does like country. They do like country. There's an amount of country you can get away with. And I DJ on this boat in the city, and I have a real like hood rat kind of cruise. It's really cool, like nothing to do. I'd never play rock, but you could play some country. For some reason, country still makes the girls dirty. You got to play this dirt. Rayen knows what I'm talking about, I think. And Stevie had sent me the song and said, "Don't play it." So the first thing I did was play it, and everybody went fucking ape shit. All the Latino girls, everybody's just still talking about it. It just fucking worked. It will work. That song will work. Now's its time. It's just that fucking Stevie will crawl in every fucking avenue. It's a long game. Like think of Blind Melon with No Rain. That was a year later. He's got a long game with that song.
Oh yeah,
he doesn't give up. He's got it.
Absolutely. First half of the show brought to you by Beater Amplification. That's 2 E's, beateramplification.com, and also get them up on Facebook. Hand-wired, hand-built, 100 watts of testicular fortitude. Pull 2 tubes, you got yourself a 53 channels. These things are fucking badass. They are all hand-wired and hand-built, and yes, they are building bass rigs. They are actually doing rack mount stuff now too, with a lot of great different tones, but it's all fucking tube, baby, the way it should be. Beater Amplification, and that's right, the Izzy Presley TCB1 will be available soon. And our good friends over at Mackie, that's right, you want to get into podcasting, you want to get into home recording, hit up our good friends over at Mackie, MACKIE.com. Check out those studio bundles, a very affordable way to get into it. I'm using my Mackie microphone right now, and the headphones are hanging on the thing, but I can hear them gloriously running through the Big Knob Studio Plus. I fucking love it. Good friends over at Mackie. It's funny. It's like being a Midwest guy and Midwest, country music. And I think that maybe that's one of the reasons that it still resonates up there, that a lot of these bands still resonate up in my area. Cause I mean, that's the wheelhouse for this kind of music.
Yeah, I love country music. That's my new shit, dude. There's this new artist named Chris Jansen. He's got "Buy Me a Boat," "Good Vibes," all these like new hits. And like, I just was like watching some random YouTube videos, and his stuff kept coming on. I kept fast forwarding it, and one day I'm watching it. Dude, he's rocking out. He's on a boat playing guitar. He's on a 4-wheeler throwing tube TVs into a lake. He's drinking beer, smoking cigars. I'm like, this is the new party. Country rock is.
It 100% is. If you're not rap, if it's not all rap, that's the fucking part. It is the fucking. It's the spirit. It's somewhere between Springsteen and what we grew up in Warren, where it falls. You know what I mean? But it's that fucking. You know what I mean? Like his song nails it. It's Crazy Nights for fucking 2020. You know what I mean?
Right. Do you guys think that? Obviously, the first one that actually hit was Quiet Riot, but I think the whole 80s glam thing started in the 70s with Van Halen.
It started, in my opinion, with Van Halen, Kiss, Alice Cooper, and AC/DC. It was the birth of those 4 bands into Motley Crue, and they took the ball, and Motley Crue opened the door, even though Quiet White Riot was around, for Quiet Riot, for Rat, for those early bands. There was like Glam Part 1, which was Van Halen to Rat, Quiet Riot, and then there was Glam Part 2 from Poison to Guns N' Roses. You know, and Britt is in there. His band, Blackboard Jungle, Sunset Strip Legends, as far as I'm concerned. I read about those guys in the magazines. And Britt, I would love if you had like a cool Sunset Strip Blackboard Jungle story that you've never told. Can you put one on us?
Oh, all right. You want to go? You guys ready for a good one? So we played.
Yeah.
We play, and this time's out because are you guys going to see the Bill and Ted Part 3 movie? You guys excited?
Yeah.
So I was at the Whisky, and I remember Tower Video was had the billboard, and I guess it just come out in video, and that's a very, let's say the word dude, everything is in that movie, and Blackboard Jungle was being produced by Brett Muscat from Faster Pussycat. We kind of had a few things going on. I was a little confident, but Bad Blood was being produced by Gene and Paul of you know, Kiss, and I guess Gene Simmons liked us. We played, and Kim Fowley had taught me this rap where I had to be like, we're like Prince meets Metallica, blah, blah, blah. And I hear that Gene is upstairs at the Whisky, and he wants to talk with Britt. Britt's the talker about the band. And I'm like, whoa, Gene Simmons. Me and Jamie Scrap, you guys know, okay, go up there. And it's Gene Simmons, and I'm pretty excited. And he goes, tell me why you're going to be #1 in the world, man. I'm like, dude, we're like Prince meets Metallica. He goes, you'll never make it. I'm like, why? I go, you use the word dude, and dude is a word of the past. #2, rock bands don't listen to Prince. They listen to the LA Guns.
Oh, fucking Gene.
And I was like, all I remember was like, he's like on the rock and roll guy. Some Kiss song was on that soundtrack, and the album was The Culture was based on dude. I was like, all right. I mean, at least then I could do the math that none of his bands were super succeeding, Gypsy, whatever on his, but you and one of my best friends in Smashing Pumpkins, and he always says, you use the word dude, and dude is the word of the past. Rock bands listen to the LA Guns. He always just says it to me. That's a good one, right?
That's classic.
I have an early Blackboard Jungle story. When I first started at the Rainbow, you know, they were putting some pictures on the wall, and some guy comes in. I think it might have been your old manager, the Eric or the DJ or something. He's got this frame poster of Blackboard Jungle, and I was just like, yes, put it up there. I like found like a prime spot. It was right where the Lemmy statue is now. It was outside for a little bit, right at the end of the bar where Lemmy used to hang out. So it was there. It might be in the hallway now. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't been in there in a couple months, but I was there for the day. It got, you know, on the wall. It was a big
that's cool. And the cool thing was, like, in Blackboard Jungle, when we were open for Faster Pussycat, I was just fresh out. I know what it felt like for kids that, like, you guys probably, I don't know if you were young or too young, but kids that would want to come see, not really us, but more Faster Pussycat. I knew what that was like to not be able to get in a 21 and up club.
Yeah.
So I had do you guys know what an SVT is, the SVT bass?
Yep.
So I had bought off one of the guys in Shooting Gallery, Andy McCoy's band, his bass case, this fucking, and his amp. So I'd load my amp in, then I'd put people in the bass case, and I'd wheel kids in one by one. If they really needed to be in the show, if they were like a Jake or you guys that really fucking were like, they're gonna sit outside and listen, even if they couldn't get in, I would fucking roll them in. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Oh, God, that is fucking gold. I was just going to poke at you and give you some shit. It was like, so after you guys had that conversation with Gene, is that when you guys started ripping off riffs to write your own songs?
Oh, my God.
I was going to say, one of your songs sounds just like, Is It Never Enough? Or I Like It a Lot. That it does have, it's very similar.
Chicago does sound just like it does sound just like the da 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 da.
Yeah, and then there's then there's Sex Action you guys ripped off.
Oh wait, I got to give you one more great Phil Lewis story. This is fucking awesome.
Please.
The internet is cut off. So my buddy in the Smashing Pumpkins goes, he was a fan. He goes, I want to play with you guys at the Viper Room. And I'm like, sure, come on. And somehow Phil Lewis wants to play with us at the Viper Room. So Jeff's going to do like 3 songs. And Phil Lewis is like, I'm going to play Sex Action. And Jeff gets up. He's like, learns it. We all know it. There's a video of us playing it. But he gets on stage and he's like, yeah, man, and we have no contact. You could see he's like looking through me. We all know that rock star.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, he's like, I don't know why this is going on. There's some girl connection or something. And he goes, when I got to the Sunset to Hollywood, I had a hairdryer and nothing else. And there was a sound coming off the streets. It was Blackboard Jungle, demise, Guns N' Roses. I'm like, fuck, motherfucker, I was fucking a sophomore when your band had a fucking album out. What the fuck is this dude saying? There's a sound coming off the streets. Holy shit. And then we played the song, but I was like, what the fuck was that?
Oh my God. And just know I'm just giving you shit because I love that fucking record. You know, it's like, oh my, is this Queensryche?
Oh yeah. Well, okay, last story, then I need to shut up because I'll talk too much.
Oh, no, dude, I want to hear these stories about this.
All right.
I'm very interested.
So Brett Muscat is producing us, okay?
Okay.
And when I started the band, when I started Blackboard, I'm going to shut up, Jake, after this is the last big one. I got to get this one in.
I had to turn the oven off. Okay.
So when I started the band, Kim Fowley is working on me, making me write 15 songs a day. I'm doing fucking speed to do this. I'm out of my mind. Like, I am in the high, you know, he's turned me into fucking like an animal. I'm out of my mind. Like, first chorus, hey, man. But anyway, I'm like, I want the band to sound like that Faster Pussycat Little Dove. That's what I wanted. I was like, this is
love that hook.
Once again, it's like Prince. That band was like fucking, you know, it sounded like Prince meets this bimbonic fucking sonic thing. So I rip off, we have a song River of Love, and I rip off that, I rip off literally the Little Dove fucking thing. Brent produces us, but I also put this other thing that was like, Jack, bow, 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 bow. This was, check this poor boy out. And so he's producing us, and one night he's got to go to band practice, and Tammy's slightly pissed because he's not putting as much in the band. He's really helping our band out.
Yeah.
And he goes, Britt, man, hey, I got to bring a riff in. So you ripped me off for that part of River of Love. So I'm going to take the other part and put in our chorus in this new song, Body Thief. And if you listen to Body Thief, the fucking part of River of Love is the chorus of Body Thief.
Oh, wow.
And it's like this fucking double ripoff. It was amazing.
The double ripoff. Love it.
What year did that record come out? That Blackboard Jungle record?
Oh.
I think like 91 or 92. And like you guys remember, like the first 2 years of any decade are the highlight of the previous decade. So 91 and 92 is the fucking highlight of the 80s. It's fucking still swinging, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we're definitely going to get into that in the second half when we start to talk about the demise. But, you know, there's so many other bands that, you know, people sometimes forget about that. I mean, like all my listeners know, like XYZ, I almost had Pat Fontaine on with us. You know, bands like that, you know, they got Black and Blue and
Black and Blue. Oh, Black and Blue. That's how Bon Jovi got the producer for Slippery When Wet.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Bruce Fairborn. He fucking liked the production on. Think of that. Then you know that holy shit, that is amazing. And Terry from XYZ used to live across from me from Larrabee. And whenever I leave, we had some hot girls that we live in. He'd be like, oh, why do you hang out with that fat guy? Because I didn't realize then I just fucking drink fucking beer and eat Taco Bell. I gained like on our band hotline, they'd fucking leave messages about the bass player getting fat, but that guy still won't look at me, man. He's like,
I love Terry.
That's funny.
Terry,
It's so cool you had a band hotline.
What'd you say?
It's so cool you had a band hotline. That was all the rage back in the day.
Oh yeah. Oh, I should bring it. I'm gonna bring it back next Blackboard Jungle show.
Dude, bring it back.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. Rayen, what about you? What about you? Some of the lesser known bands that you love from that era.
Oh man, well, to me they're not lesser known because most of them still can tour. But I would definitely say Pussycat was probably at the top of that. Tough, unironically, was at the top of that. I showed this to Stevie. Let me see, in my little rock and roll collection. I still have my from 1993 Tough CD with the original lineup signature. I went to see him at a club called Rockies. Britt, I think you played at Rockies with Blackboard Jungle.
Yeah.
But it was in Charlotte, North Carolina. But I like Blackboard. I like all the bands, all of them. I was the nerd. I wasn't I just liked the surface bands of Poison, Motley Crue, and Warrant. I went deeper. I loved all the stuff. You know, the Cult. I don't know if they're really glam, but that era, just and all the bands in decline. Like I said, all that kind of stuff. I really like Lizzie Borden. A lot of people don't even know that the band is, but I dig. I dig that
Against
band.
the World is my favorite Lizzie Borden.
Yeah, that's what Rat in a Cage, Jet Boy Feel the Shit. Everybody ripped that song off.
I love Jet Boy. Those are my homies.
Oh, Jet Boy, God, you know, and I mess around with it, but like that's one of those things where Jet Boy were just taking over the earth. And Brett from Pussycat said that if you would have seen Jet Boy at that time, you would have thought they would have crushed everybody.
Really?
Got my signed Jet Boy albums on the wall. Black Roses. You seen that one?
Oh my God.
Nice.
Candy. See what else? You know, my apartment's starting to look like a Van Nuys dry cleaners over here.
Oh my God, I fucking love it.
Hold on, time out. Is that Mahoney from fucking Police Academy?
Yeah, it is over here. It is. Yeah.
Steve Gutenberg.
Oh, that fucking rules.
Bunch of goodies. This is one of my favorites. Okay. You seen that movie? Fire in the Sky? It's the guy who was abducted. I sent him a note on the internet and he sent me an autograph.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm a big collector. I love that shit.
I love it. Love it.
I think my favorite story about that is me and my buddy were watching Headbangers Ball one night. We saw the Don't Call Me Dude video for Scatterbrain. Yeah. And I went out and bought the record immediately. And, you know, we ordered shirts from the CD booklet and the shirts came, and then fucking like a couple months later, I get this package. It's got the new single, CD single, and it's got an autograph fucking picture of the band and like this pamphlet about the band. It was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Oh, it's amazing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's what you got to remember what it's about. Like there was some guy, I don't ever check the Facebook, and there was some guy was looking for our vinyl record, Blackboard Jungles, in the middle of in the Netherlands.
Wow.
And I just said, give me your address, and I just send it to him. With a shirt, his mind was blown. It would just send it to him. You had certain people. And back to your bands, two bands that I think fucking crushed. Obviously, Vain were just incredible. I mean, like come the fuck on. I mean, that record is just what the fuck. And the other one, Salty Dog, to me are as good as fucking Led Zeppelin. Like I saw them, and that band is just working as that singer. Like, what the fuck? That record is just crushing. And all anybody remembers is My Hot Dog Bun. Oh, the Hot Dog Bun band.
Yeah, but honestly, I've never listened to that entire record. But I mean, that song fucking slays. And I'll Come Along is a fucking great tune. Or what about the Sleaze Bees?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. What about the Sea Hags or Rocks Gang? You remember those guys from Florida?
Yeah. Two excellent.
Where were the Sea Hags from? Were they
Francisco? They're like with the Jet Boy. Like it's kind of that contingent.
Their guitar player was Frankie Wilsey. He went on to play for Stephen Pearcy, but before Sea Hags, he was in a band called Head On. I never saw him. Wait for my time.
He played on the first early Ray record. He played slide guitar on it. So
right on. Totally Joe Perry-esque guy.
100%. Couldn't have been a cooler dude. He walked in, picked up the thing. Matt Thor was like, here's the part. He heard it one time, played it down, and Matt had him play a few other things. Totally just exactly what you want from that guy. Just the coolest dude.
He still
looked down, had his sunglasses on.
He still wears like a blouse. The ruffles come out of the leather coat, you know, like total Britney Fox era style.
And Jake, you know, it's funny because we know a lot of shit, but I know when you say Head On, Billy Rowe is the greatest rock historian I've ever met. I mean, that guy was like 9 levels deep on DAD. I love Billy, and that
DAD, dude. They're like the Rolling Stones of Denmark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Billy taught me that. Billy really, like when you said Head On, I've had so many conversations that just reminds me of Billy.
Oh, let's not forget they're not as glam rock, you know, I mean heavy metal, but the Zeros. Another great
Hollywood culture.
You know them, Rayen?
I love the Zeros. I had 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Pina Colada Bang. I had both the first 2 records, and I lived on Sunset for a little while. I would go to the Comedy Store and I would geek out because Danny Dangerous is the sound guy there.
Yeah.
And I would be like, I'd be watching the comedian Joe Rogan's on stage, but I'm more concerned about what Danny Dangerous is doing at the soundboard. I'm like, dude, that's fucking Danny Dangerous from the Zeros. That's
absolutely.
So cool. And,
when I first moved to LA and I was working at the Rainbow, I met Danny Dangerous. Jet Boy and the Zeros had a show at the Whisky in like 2005 or 2006. It was when Mickey just came back from Hawaii, Mickey Finn. And I was like, the roadie just carrying gear. And like, it was such a great double bill. And I've been good friends with those guys ever since. So great memories.
What I dig about those guys is the pictures of them painting the coconut teaser purple and the whiskey purple. I still don't know how they got away with that, but I'm sure they paid for it. But it was whenever that club now is now some like swanky club, the coconut teaser, which I personally, that's one of the folklores of the 80s hair rock scene that I don't know much about. So either any of you guys have any perspective or experiences at the teaser? What was that place like? Was it like the Whisky? What was going on there?
That was before my time. Britt can answer.
I kind of invented the coconut teaser. I'm going to say
nice.
Seriously. Originally I moved to LA when I was 20, and this girl I knew would be able to get in, and I would climb the fucking outside gates, those ivy gates, and stay in until they'd find me and get thrown out a few times. But my favorite thing about the teaser was, I'll send you these pictures of Axl jamming with the Love Razors, because they had a band, the Drunk Fucks, that would play there. And Axl would go on the porch where they would sell tacos. And if he went on the porch outside, literally the whole fucking club would go to the porch. And if there was a band playing, it'd be empty. Then if he walked in, it looked like a fucking arena. It was just incredible. And Len Fagan, who died this year, just nurtured every fucking band, man. That was like, they didn't have pay to play. There were amps there. All the fucking drugged out musicians would be just, you put a band in. Our first show was at the teaser. It's just, you cut your Tom Morello. Tom Morello wrote a thing when Len Fagan, the booker, died, that you should just go to his thing and read. He just, I guess, the Black Crowes, Mark Ford, Tom Morello, and Lenny Kravitz's band were playing a festival, and their connection was Len Fagan, the booker at the fucking Coconut Teaser, that loved fucking music, lived like a fucking Rolling Stone, and they're like, they just called them and just like, we are here playing a fucking festival, and we all honed our teeth on you. It's just, me and you will talk. Well, the fucking teaser was just it.
Speaking of Mark Ford, another great band that not as appreciated or you hear from these days, Burning Tree.
Oh yeah. And Musk produced their first demo when we were with him. He was producing their demo, so it was great. Yeah. Come on.
I've met them a couple of times at the Whisky. They did a little mini reunion of sorts, so that was cool to see that. I think they're fucking awesome. They're just like so like hippie metal, groove, burner rock, but they're cool. One more band. Sorry, one more band that is, no one knows that much about is Motorcycle Boy. I love those guys, but just so you know,
right in there,
Francois, the singer, lives in my building, lives down the hall.
Francois was like God, and he'd work at Let It Rock. And you go in there with his fucking soap tear and his hollow body, and he'd be drinking at work. You're a kid like, this guy, he invented fucking cool.
That's what I'm saying. He's so cool. I love that guy.
It looks the same, but it's funny that you talk Broken Home. So I think the guy from Lenny Kravitz and Burning Tree, they always seem like the same band, and the Fuzz Tones. These were bands that when we were kids playing metal, they were paying homage to a different time, like the 60s. You know what I mean? And they remind me when I meet you guys of what that must be like. They were just like, we're into some cooler fucking shit. We're rolling a different drummer. The guy's got a fucking afro. Who you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck's going on here, man? You need to get some lip service, motherfucker, if you want to meet chicks. Come on. You know what I mean? Yeah. They were on a page in a world and mining old gold mines, and it worked out for them.
Yeah, Paul Bear checking in the chat room. Even though it's not glam, TT Quick.
Oh, Medal of Honor. That's my fucking neighborhood. ACDs. Zakk Wylde, my first show was opening for Zakk Wylde in an aerobic center where he was playing Ozzy covers. I mean, I was like me and Kenny. So with the drummer a day aside, but it was just Jeff Wylant then. But he was arguing with the guy who could play Yngwie better backstage. And his whole style changed because Dave DiPietro from TT Quick, the guitar player, we're talking a guy in suburban New Jersey, and we all know what suburban's like, that was slamming fucking heroin, I think, dressing like Jimmy Page and bell bottoms, was like, you got to get more bluesy, and he cultivated Zack's whole thing.
Wow.
True story.
I think the band's called Smack.
Oh, yeah, from Finland. They were supposed to be Hanoi Rocks.
Yeah, and I think the singer might have died of a drug overdose real early on or something, but they're like that early glam era.
Mm-hmm.
What about, let me ask you guys if you know from New York City, Star.
Oh, I have one of their CDs. No, man. I'm thinking Hellstar. Never mind. I don't know Star.
No, I don't.
Yeah, they had a couple of great records. They were kind of underground. They never got a pop, but they were kind of a regional East Coast kind of thing. And I think you guys or Britt especially, I think you were probably out west by then. But one of the other things about that era that fascinated me, and Stevie's told me some great stories, and Britt, you could confirm or deny this. Britt, did you ever go to any of those like one-stop hair shops where you walk in looking one way and you leave looking another?
I didn't because I don't think I was cool enough. I don't think that was I could divide the glam. That was a Valley thing. If you had 818, and in hindsight, everybody acts like Blackboard Jungle was cool, but trust me, we wanted a banner. We wanted to have sponsorships on our flyer and all that shit. We didn't have that.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just did that. That wasn't like, I would have been more swinging thing, more tough. Like they were getting their pictures by William Haynes, who just crushed it. It is just, I think even Guns, they were a frustrated glam band. You know, we're kind of glam, we're kind of like Alice in Chains. Sometimes confusion makes for fucking cool shit.
Well, I think with Guns, and I was going to ask you about this influence on Blackboard as well. Like Guns was more of a East Hollywood thing, you know, much like LA Guns and fucking Junkyard, because they were all skaters and they came from the punk, which is, I think, really what helped define that sound, because it wasn't straightforward, you know, fucking Poison type shit. They really came from punk, which added so much to that sound.
And they were going like Reggie. They weren't even playing the Strip, right?
Yeah, I think, and I came after, but one thing that drives me crazy, and maybe you guys really do like it, you skate. My brother grew up on DRI and was skating off cars and all that shit. People love the word punk. I never fucking liked it. I don't know how much. I think it was like fringes of punk. Hanoi. I heard a thing, and I live with people that like the old bass player Rose. Listen, they were fucking Priest, all that shit. That was kind of Judas Priest, Aerosmith, Axl's early bands. Izzy walks in with the Kerrang and a fucking cassette of Hanoi Rocks and goes, "This is it, man. Come on, Hanoi Rocks have the fucking line, 'Welcome to the Jungle.' As Billy wrote, Hanoi Rocks fucking turned it upside down. It was fucking metal meets Hanoi Rocks, and then everybody, oh, we're really into the Stones. It's like Springsteen never said he was into Dylan, but he was, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I think one band that I hear Axl talk about, Nikki Sixx, everybody loved Accept. I think Accept gave that fucking, that grind. Then Hanoi gave it something else, and that was that fucking morph, you know?
Which brings us right back to TT Quick, because their singer is now the singer in Accept.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Mark Janillo, yeah.
See, I have a theory, and Kim Fowley and me talked about this. This is why I think Blackboard did okay. You're an East Coast kid, and we all learned how to fight a little bit. It wasn't, dude, you come to Hollywood, let's be honest, there's a lot of pussies in Hollywood. I don't mean to say it, but you know what I mean? Like, Axl is half Skinnerd, half fucking Hanoi Rocks. And that Skinner, that Ronnie Van Zant of him is like, just fuck with me, motherfucker. I'll fucking, and he's got the hair teased. And I swear to God, it was Skinnerd meets Hanoi Rocks. There's the equation. As Kim Fowley said, and then you move to Hollywood, it gives you the fucking story. We've all, you know, you go there, here's your fucking story. Just rent an apartment and you'll get the story to write about.
He was ready to scrap at all times.
Oh, Axl, I had a story of like, he didn't know that fucking the Chaps was gay. And I fucking fought Andy McCoy in the Roxy, punched him, didn't fight, just won from over the bars at the Roxy. Because he pulled the same shit that Axl got pulled on by Johnny Thunders. We were like East Coast animals, and Johnny Thunders went to grab his ass at Fenders, and Axl went to fucking kill him. And Izzy's like, oh, that's the holy grail. And Axl's like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Guys grabbing my ass.
Britt, to your point, you're 100% right. Coming from South Carolina, should have been a football player, being a pretty big guy. People in Hollywood are still pussies. I love them. I love all you guys, but there's, compared to the Midwest and East Coast guys, you could spot them from a mile away, and they can spot you too. Like, there's been a lot of times I've been walking the strip, and it's just like, here we go, and then they just keep walking past me because it's like, maybe not this guy. But you did, if you come from the East Coast, especially Jersey or New York City, you inherently had a vibe of, you know, we'll fuck you up. You know, and Blackboard had that vibe. I remember I love that record, but the record had a confidence in it that very few of those later 80s, early 90s records had. A lot of times in the late 80s, early 90s, I felt in the glam scene, people were chasing other things. Blackboard seemed to have a confidence about it. And I think a lot of that came from that New Jersey, what they brought to Hollywood. And the same thing with Guns. I think Guns was a frustrated glam band that, like Britt said, they couldn't afford to go get their hair turned around for $1,000 and stuff like that, you know, so they just made the best what they could do. But Axl was a scrappy Indiana kid who came from a crazy household, who brought that energy to California, where these people were just talking about other stuff. He's like, nah, fuck you, I'm gonna talk about this. And if somebody fucks with me, I'm gonna beat them up. And that was kind of the lure, you know. And Motley Crue kind of had that vibe, that gang vibe. And
yeah,
but Guns N' Roses perfected it.
And I gotta say, one of my first things, do you guys remember Johnny Crash?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
One of my first things as an 18, 19-year-old kid, our first band, Filthy Rich, was like Poison. And I guess the guys in Johnny Crash were saying that Filthy Rich is like poison. And Britt's fucking, his girlfriend's a whore, which she was. Carol, who used to run the Whisky, stank on the fucking, Caroline, who stanked on the fucking First Love Hate album. She was fucking all of Love Hate, but I'm an 8, telling me she's my age, she's 30. I mean, but Johnny Crash said this, so I just waited with my buddy, my high school buddy at the fucking, and they were men. Johnny Crash were men, you know what I mean? Junkies. I waited for the fucking bass player to come out, not Andy, the bass player that eventually passed away, to fucking come out. And I just ran to punch him in the face, and I'm brawling like a fucking animal. David and Renee Natcher just ran up to him, because that's what we did in high school, to fucking thrashers and made fun. Just attacked them, and nobody had seen like it, this fucking little glam band. If you ever want to look up something, look up Blackboard Jungle Bass Throw. We played Lingerie, and a guy kept fucking putting my mic in my fucking, because that's just how you had to survive back there.
Right.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a short little break. You guys have a chance to take a whiz. We'll be back in 2 minutes and 2 seconds, and we're going to get into the demise, the fall of the 80s glam rock. We got Rayen Belchere. We got Jake Perry. We got Britt Pennella from Blackboard Jungle, and my name is Izzy Presley. We'll be right back, 2 and 2 on another fucking podcast.
Would I listen to Izzy Presley? Ooh, not if he was the last disc jockey on earth, honey.
We also make custom shirts, jackets, vests, pants, hoodies, beanies, and more. The Rockwood Graphics Department can design anything from your logo, t-shirt design, promo posters, band swag, and printed at great prices. From tour shirts and custom stage gear to killer threads for the street to the stage, Rockwood Saloon has it all. Rockwood Saloon, authentic rock and roll apparel for stage and street. World tour tested for quality, comfort, style, and durability. Check them out at www.rockwoodsaloon.com. That's rockwoodsaloon.com.
If you need to promote your band or business, or just want to stylize, personalize, or customize your ride, check out vid-decals.com. Want to create and customize your own stickers representing your band, or make your own bumper sticker? Vid Decals can do it. All stickers are printed on quality vinyl and can be placed on any flat surface. Stickers are an affordable way to promote your band or business. Go to vid-decals.com to get started. That's vid-decals.com. vid-decals.com.
Retro Arcade brings Minnesota and surrounding areas arcade games from the days gone by. All of those great games from pizza joints and arcades are available in cocktail units and custom machines. Dozens of favorites from your youth in one machine to complete your game room or man cave. Retro Arcade also sells and services your favorite pinball machines. Find them at facebook.com/80arcade. That's facebook.com/80arcade. Retro Arcade. Your youth is just one click away.
Would I listen to Izzy Presley? Ooh, not if he was the last disc jockey on earth, honey.
Oh, that's amazing.
All right, we are back. The rise and fall of 80s glam rock. Second half of the show brought to you by A&P Laser Engraving, the guys that do my great roadie packs that, of course, have the they got the tumbler for the coffee, they got the flask for the good shit, which reminds me I need to do that. Zippo type lighter, and the dog tags. These guys are so good they can even laser engrave a hot dog bun. Hit them up, aplaser.com, and our good friend John Palumbo over at John Palumbo Design. We love us some John Palumbo. You have a band, you have a business, you need a website, you need a logo, hit up John Palumbo, johnpalumbodesign.com. God, we love us some John Palumbo. All right, back. Jake Perry, Britt, Pennella, Rayen, Belchere. Rayen, you had a question for Jake before we get into this.
Yeah, circling back to kind of what you guys were talking about, the vibe of the 80s and how special it still is. For me, whenever I play country shows, like I played with Chris Stapleton and Justin Moore, I played with Zach Brown. In between all the songs, you hear 80s rock. Or in between sets, they play 80s rock. Same thing at football games, baseball games. You don't hear Fugazi, you hear Thunderstruck and Nothing But a Good Time. And all that stuff, to me, home base, ground zero is the section between the Rainbow and the Whisky. And Jake, I've played the Whisky a handful of times. I played a couple of shows with the first version of Wednesday 13 solo band. We would sell out shows, and I know from experience, and I want to ask you a question if you've seen it. Have you seen the guys, even to this day, who won't admit it, but are so enamored, who walk in and go, because I see it. When I'm just hanging at the Whisky, the guys go in and they go, oh God, this is the Whisky. And then you can't tell it. They can't tell if they're. You get fan mail.
Whiskey gets fan mail, just like from all over the world. There's fan mail. It will just be like, I love the Whiskey. Van Halen rules. Love you from Japan. Like we get
no way.
I was like, yeah, dude. So people walk in there all the time. That's why people come up to me and just want to hear stories. I can't believe you work here. Where's Led Zeppelin? Where'd they sit? Where I'm like, dude, this is it. I give them a little tour. So it's always nice when a fellow rock fan comes in.
Jake, what's the most common question?
Common question? Usually the most common question when an old guy comes in, and let's just say like if an old rocker comes in, like not even a fan, like a guitar player for Little Steven from Bruce Springsteen, Bobby Kimball from the singer of Toto, they all come in, they say the same thing. They go, wasn't the stage over there? Because I think the stage used to be smaller, maybe in the corner, and then they moved it to the center. So I hear that question a lot from like people who played there, but for fans and just like fans of music, it's usually just like, you know, they're just happy to be there. They don't really have any, just the same questions like, you know, what's it like working here? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I remember my first time, you know, we did the Viper Room. Then we walked up the street to take a picture with the Motley House, you know, and then we went into the Whisky, and it was like my thing was, this is it?
Right.
Because you just hear these stories and you think this place is like this huge, iconic room, and you walk in, I'm like, dude, this is like the red carpet in St. Cloud, except smaller. Wow. You know?
Yeah. My first time there, I was the roadie for Jet Boy and the Zeros. And I go up, I get the backstage thing. I go up the stairs. I'm going backstage, and we get into the small dressing room, and it's like an interrogation room. It's all black walls, benches, no graffiti, and a bucket of beer. I'm like, this is it? But they did do some remodeling. Another question is like, where'd Van Halen party? And basically all those old, huge dressing rooms, I don't know what year they changed it, but now they're all offices. So my office is just like an old dressing room. Or my office was an old storage closet, but the office next to me, like the old booking office, is basically, that's still an office, but the old dressing room is a big office now.
Gotcha.
So, but
is it like the Rainbow where you can just pound on the wall in the bathroom and it looks like it's snowing, but it's like just still cocaine falling?
No, man, it's pretty tight run ship over there at the Whisky.
I know.
Strictly business, you know.
I know. I'm just talking about from back in the day.
But one thing that they painted the wall as black for some reason, but sometimes, you know, a band will pick at it, and then I'll go in the dressing room, I'll just pick at the dressing room wall a little bit, and it will expose some yellow paint. Then I pull at it a little more, just hoping to find like a Britt Pennella was here or something.
No, it's Jake. Who's the band, Jake? If you had to say, is, to me, I couldn't decipher. It seemed like in LA at the Whisky, it was either you had the Doors people who loved it because of the Doors, or the Motley Crue people who loved it because of Motley Crue. Do you agree with that? And if not, what band do you think calls the Whisky absolute home?
100%. Those are the two bands. Probably the Doors the most, because a lot of the tourists are older. But and then the tourists I get along with are the ones who come in there that are just like I work upstairs in the office, and these people will just walk upstairs and I see them lingering around. I don't even know how they got up there. They're just like, oh my God, cameras are out. They come, they take pictures of me. They take pictures with me. I'm like, all right, how you doing? I'm like a monkey in a cage as they walk by. But yeah, those are the Motley Crue fans that are just like, dude, tell me stories. This is where it went down. So yeah,
Nice.
the Doors and Motley Crue 100% are the two big ones.
Well, XYZ claims to be the only band that was actually a resident band.
Well,
house
XYZ,
band,
the
yeah.
whole
House
fucking
band.
side painted when I got there. It was a great building, and the whole fucking side was painted XYZ. They actually had an album out, and the Whisky really, along with the teaser, the Whisky had a thing called No Bozo Jam when I moved there, which really were love hate, and everybody just fucking were able to just play. You didn't have to pay to play. You could sign up, and it was a magical time. Axl would be there, and they just buy the band's pizza, and you get 3 songs. It was fucking No Bozo was a.
I hear a lot of that. A lot of the old school guys, like that's a common thing. Bring back the No Bozo Jam. That's how like Love Hate was discovered or something.
Yeah, Sandman posted it. It was fucking magic.
Speaking of underrated bands that that we were talking about earlier, I love Love Hate. They're one of my favorite bands. I flew to Nottingham, England to see them. They were the last band I saw before this whole pandemic thing. I saw them. I flew to Denver to see them with the London Choir Boys. Everyone's wearing a mask. This is like
Choir
before
Boys.
the
fucking Choir
official.
Boys.
Yeah,
that's my party band right there, dude. I listen to Love Hate. Next thing you know, I'm 10 Bud Lights deep, and my pants are off. I love it.
Did they have the beer cross when you went and saw them? The cross with all the beer cans? And
Not
everything?
anymore. They tamed down. When I saw them in Hollywood like 15 years ago, they had the beer cross, and I stole it, and I had it on my wall for like a decade. And then I finally, it was so sacred to me. That was my whole wall, the beer cross. I come in my room one day, my friend's there, and he's smoking a bowl out of the Budweiser can. I'm like, what are you doing? You just desecrated the beer cross. And after that, it fell apart.
They had a place called Soul House in downtown LA, which was the rehearsal room where they lived, and Skid did all his art. And then the Whisky, Vicky, who at the time booked it, was married to Louis, was in love with Jizzy, and he's even got that line, Vicky in One More Round. That whole album is written about the Whisky, and my whore girlfriend was Carol, who was a waitress at the Whisky. That whole Blackout in the Red Room is the sound of the Whisky.
Absolutely, at that time, yeah, 1980.
Vicky, One More Round. You know what I mean? One More Round.
I love it. That's my party band right there, dude. Love it.
Magical band.
Oh shit, we got Lori checking in from fucking Australia. He got here late. He was moving stuff. Tall Bear says, seen Wednesday 13 many times here in North Carolina. Very cool. And Jennifer made it. Better late than never. Love the 80s glam. Rayen, going back to what you were saying about country guys and loving the 80s rock, fucking one of my good buddies, a drummer from the fucking Luke Bryan band, Kent Slutcher. Huge fucking 80s and Kiss fucking geek.
Dude, I'm telling you, if you go see any headlining country act, in between the opening band or before the curtain and everything, the music they really pump, they don't pump Johnny Cash, no disrespect. They don't pump rap music, no disrespect. They don't pump any of that stuff. They play 80s metal. It's 80s metal fest. Sometimes it's like, that's why I've been tuning into Britt's Sunday shows, because it just feels like such a party. I just want to come to Britt's place and hang out and party with him, because that's
what we're
the
talking
vibe.
Yeah, you didn't do some. I'm gonna be honest. The country guys do bullshit country. You didn't do a bullshit Kiss cover. Kiss is fucking required reading. You know what I mean? It's like you fucking be cool. You're into Kiss. I get you're an AC/DC and fucking pour some sugar on me too. It's cool, but you fucking you did a band that fucking mattered. They all do the Kiss is safe. You know what I mean?
So should I not tell you that I have an Ace Frehley tribute band called ACK?
I know, I saw it, but Ace Frehley tribute, but I fucking love Kiss. With Alex, I fucking love Kiss. I say that when Ace sings, I feel like cocaine's gonna come out of the speakers, man. Ace sounds like I literally feel like he sounds like drugs. I mean, that's one of my favorite bands, but the bullshit safe cover with a country guy, you know what I mean? You're in. You're 9 layers deep. We're all 9 layers deep in this shit. But when a guy just like a country guy does Hard Luck Woman, oh, that was fucking, you know.
Yeah, but Garth was fucking badass at it. Garth's version was fucking awesome.
Rayen's better.
Thank you, Britt. Well, to follow up on that, I did an interview for a country music thing, and they said, well, what makes you different than anybody else who's tried to cross these genres? And I said, well, if you took the Motley Crue tribute on Big Machine and took everybody who worked on that record, everybody from the engineers, producers, musicians, sound guys to the actual artists, put them on one team and put me on one team as Sunset Strip trivia, I'll bet the house on me. Because you have to, 80s Sunset Strip was an attitude of authenticity. And you could tell the bands that weren't authentic. And same thing with country. You see, and no disrespect, but Bret Michaels, when he decides to do a country album, or Steven Tyler decides to do a country album, there's not a lot of authenticity there. It just feels like a guy trying to reach. So I took the two things I actually was authentic in and brought them together. And like Britt said, you know, it would be easy for me to go mail in, pour some sugar on me, country. But, you know, I went a little deeper and tried to do something that mattered. But that audience, for anybody listening, country on the surface sounds a little hokey and a little corny. But if you want the vibe of just checking your brain at the car, partying with your buddies, turning up some loud guitars, picking up chicks, hanging out, making new friends, high-fiving, you don't get that at alternative rock concerts. You get that at country concerts. And that's what I'm hoping to bring to that, you know, and no disrespect to any of those people, but I feel like that people just go for the surface level of each one. But back to you, Britt, I just before I forget this, I want to hear, you got it, because I'm a nerd, right? And you're a legend. I will say that right now.
We're all metal nerds.
Cheers. But I am so obsessed with your stories. You said something the other night on your metal show on Sundays that Kim Fowley, and you said this, and I literally was like, I had chill bumps because I said, that's the fucking truth. You said Kim Fowley told you, I think you said this, and correct me, that if just come to LA and the story writes itself.
Yes, he said the whole story was, come to fucking LA, because I had read him on all the albums. You know, we all studied the special thanks. Obviously, we nerded out in your room when it's fucking snowing, you're looking at special thanks shit. And he said, hey, and this was an argument. I'll give you the Blackboard Jungle shit. He goes, fucking Britt, you have it. You look, because I grew up by Springsteen, so I was into fucking lyrics. Springsteen, Nikki Sixx. He goes, you move to LA, you're in the jungle. If you live it, the story will write itself, and you'll bring people to the embryo and to the city in the same fucking breath. So just come here, live it, and it's gonna write it. And then on your first album, you get one first line to scream out to the fucking whole world who you are, and you'd be a fucking Roth or Axl, and you do it. And my contention with Kim Fowley was, Axl is like grandpa, he said, and he's sitting Hollywood on its fucking lap and bottled it up and go, this is the story. I go, that's totally cool, Kim, but I don't do fucking heroin. I've done a little blow, I drank a little, but I actually miss my mom and I miss my friends, so I kind of got to put that on my album. And he got pissed. He goes, I kind of respect that, because everybody doesn't do heroin, emulates guns, then writes about it. That's pretty cool. All right, I'll work with you. You know, that's why we have a lot of songs about friendship on that record, because it was just like, I'm not going to shoot up in my neck. I mean, that's cool, and I'll fight, and I'll do something, right? But I'm not going to shoot up in my neck.
Now that you say that, it comes to life. Blackboard definitely had that, like, gang friendship, one of the boys just hanging out kind of thing. It's coming to focus for me. And the Kim Fowley stuff, I'm a big fan of that whole era. So one day we got to get on the phone. I just want to hear some stories.
I have a Kim Fowley story for you.
Oh, give it to me.
Producing a band called Sloppy Jane, this female-fronted 15-year-old who is, you know, super cool, you know, just would have like blue fake blood coming out of her face. And there's like a sloppy punk rock band, young kids. So he was trying to, like, you know, start something with them. Yeah. And then I saw him, I knew about Kim Fowley, you know, I was like, oh my God, this guy's a legend. Yeah. And so he came to the Whisky, super tall guy, big dude, kind of looks like the Munster guy or something, you know?
Oh yeah, oh fucking.
And so he's outside the whenever I walk outside the Whisky, there's always, like, you know, some weirdos hanging out. You never know what you're gonna get.
Oh yeah.
Like, either a local or a
story.
tourist.
You're getting a story.
So this guy's out there. First, I look down. There's a guy, like a probably like a Mexican guy who's in his like mid-20s, a gay dude, I think. And he's wearing leather undies, leather shorts, and he has a black collar on, and he's on all fours like a dog. And I'm like, what the hell? And I look up, and Kim Fowley's holding the leash. Amazing. And I was just like,
oh, dude, are you serious?
What is going on? Yeah, and like I don't know if he was with that band, because the girls from the band were there too, but I was like, I didn't know
Oh, definitely was. Down the and the quick Kim Fowley story. So he's got me writing 15 songs a day, 15 fucking songs, verse and chorus.
Nice.
So I discovered crystal meth is going to make this fucking easier. And we also got to put like shows every day to be like the Runaways. We go to Palm Springs to play with Stuart Bailey's band. I think they're called Dr. Whisky, Axel's brother. I'm fucking tweaked out. I'm writing the songs. Kenny calls my fucking Kim and goes, Britt's fucking tweaked out. But it's because it was like that. Hey, kid, try some of this. It'll keep you up and you write the song. He fucking He calls my dad. I am not a normal dad, but we all like my dad didn't shoot up or fuck me in the ass or anything growing up. He's like that, right. Man, it's the days without call waiting. I'm fucking in a payphone. It's busy. My dad is on the phone with Kim Fowley telling him I'm in drugs. And my dad still has the note somewhere of Kim Fowley. My dad is like fucking Al Pacino, international shipping guy. And fucking Kim Fowley, because I only cared about two people, man, you and Joan Jett. I had a call. But the busy signal, I'm on speed in Palm Springs looking at Stuart, Axel's brother, with Kim Fowley on the phone with my parents. My mom had to come to Fortress Rehearsal Studios and have a conference, and he brought all his fucking gold albums and had a fucking parent-teacher conference with me, my mom, and Kim Fowley and Kenny.
Parent-teacher.
Jesus Christ. Bruce checking in the chat room from Canada. And saying country's the one fucking genre he just can't get into. But isn't there a fucking hockey game on right now? I mean, that's why fucking Scotty isn't here. There's a fucking hockey game on. The fuck's wrong with you, Bruce? But I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here.
Well, Bruce, you don't have to get into country music. It's just go for the party. That's all I'm saying. And just go to a good one and go for the party. Go tailgate. If you like 80s rock and you like the vibe, just don't worry about the music. Just go for
all
the
the girls there.
Yes.
Bruce 100%. 11 minutes till the puck drops. That's good to know. I reached out to Roxy Petrucci to join us. She actually just got back to me. Goes, Izzy, one of these days, P.S. Glam Rock is alive and well, motherfucker. Have a great night.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Roxy. And to go back to your pour some sugar on me, that has been a country version of that. It's called Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy.
You're right. Truth. Facts. I can't argue that.
Before we get into the demise, Jake, I did want to touch on one thing regarding the whiskey and regarding the way it is out here. Obviously, the whiskey is one of the pay-to-play places. What are your thoughts on it? And I defend pay-to-play all the time because I get it. I understand it. What are your thoughts being as somebody that's in the office?
Well, pay to play, when I first started the job, and the boss was like, "Oh, bands sell tickets," and I was like, "What? Pay to play?" Like I was, I didn't, it has a stigma for sure. But now after booking hundreds of bands, it's kind of like you can book a headliner, and unless it sells out, a lot of these headliners are not going to sell out. So it kind of, and if the kids aren't selling tickets, they might not bring people. So it's really just a business model that works, especially when the expenses are pretty high. So. I'm not against it. I don't really like promoting it. It's kind of a bummer that we have to do it in the scene. It's not 1987 and there's a line around the block anymore, but it is what's keeping the doors open.
Exactly. And people forget that it's not cheap to run a business in Los Angeles. There's a reason fucking businesses close every day because it is fucking expensive, even for a place like the fucking Whiskey and the Rainbow. It has to be done. It sucks, but it is what it is. So, boom, there you go.
And I always thought it was like a new thing. And then I read Duff McKagan's book, and he's saying that Guns N' Roses sold tickets.
Alibi artists, everybody was doing it then. Yeah, when I got there.
So now I'm just like, whatever. It's just like a system that's been in place in LA, probably because it's so goddamn expensive out there, and they need people, they need bodies in the room just to make it work.
Yeah. Well, my point to that, Izzy, I don't mean to cut you off, is I did it in the late 90s. My band, I had a band called Ultraside. We were working with Mike Raphael from Jailhouse on doing a record, and he was producing it. We did a showcase, and the Whiskey told us, "We love the music. We got a show we think you'll fit on, but it's $500." Everybody else in the band was like, $500. I'm like, dude, let's pull together $500 fucking dollars to play the goddamn Whiskey. Like, are you kidding me? If you're ready for the big time, it's like going to buy a baseball bat to go play in your baseball game. You can spend a few bucks to go get on that stage. We're not talking about any other stage in the world. We're talking about the stage, the ground zero of rock and roll. And I defend that too, because a lot of rock and roll dudes, including myself, you know, you don't, if you just got the show, you're not going to go work it like most bands, but if you got money in it, you're going to go hustle those tickets. In the late 90s, I was out hustling tickets at the Rainbow and everything else. And that, like Britt said, that's part of the story. But if a band balks at it, tell them to go kick rocks and go play in downtown LA and see how that works out for them.
Right. Well, if you got 4 or 5 guys in the band, let's say you have to sell 50 tickets at $10. If you break it up, and, you know, we're you know, not sticklers over there. I'll give for a big show like Faster Pussycat, they're going to get 20 to 25 free tickets. Plus they get a guest list.
Yeah.
And then sometimes if it's not a big show, you know, we'll give them sell 50 tickets. So you get 50 tickets for free, you know? So I'm not trying to like rip anyone off. I want them to play, and I want people, we want people in there. So.
Right. But there's the other side of it too, and it's just like fucking making a record now or having a podcast. Is anybody can make a record or have a podcast, but it almost feels like with pay to play, it's like, well, anybody can play the fucking Whiskey now. Is there? I mean, do you guys still fucking? Well, this band's fucking terrible, but we need a band, and they're willing to pay. Is there still that mentality?
Oh yeah, if we have like a weekend show and there's no headliner, we'll just call it like a weekend mixer, a local mixer or something. You know, we'll have a guy, like a country guy from Florida who's been on the bill for 6 months, but then there's a death metal guy going on at midnight who's from Australia. So, you know, we don't really turn too many people down.
I've been to a lot of those shows. Those are some of my favorite shows. It was like
some of my favorite too, man. You just it's a freak show.
Like kamikaze. It was a kamikaze show. So I remember I was hanging out with a friend, and Metalachi went on, and then after them a death metal band went on, and then some singer songwriter chick, and I was like, this is the best night ever. I don't know what to expect, you know.
We try to match it up, but you know, 365 shows a year, pretty much 350 shows a year. Like, it's not always going to be a metal category. So
Jake, let me ask you this, because I have tickets. Is the Rose Tattoo show happening? Because I have tickets for that.
It got postponed, I think, to what, January or May?
Yeah, but I keep hearing that February is going to be when the concerts come back. I just was figuring I'd put you on the spot and let me see if it's happening. Because I have tickets. I plan on coming out for that. And Rose Tattoo is another underrated band from the 70s and 80s.
Oh, God. Fucking Rose Tattoo. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I mean, they're 100%. January 14th, 15th, 16th. As far as I know, that's happening. We scheduled to 2021. I mean, we still haven't canceled any shows in October or December. I mean, November. So we're kind of just playing it by ear. I don't really know the outcome of what's going to happen this year, unfortunately, but I hope that show happens. It's next year, you know?
I won't ask you about the show in September at the Rainbow because
that's canceled.
Is it? Has that been announced though?
I don't think we officially announced it, but we are going to very soon.
Okay, well, you know this is live on the air, right? So
okay, everybody. It's been pushed to Sunday, April 18th. We're shooting for the same lineup. Bullet Boys can't make it, but Vane's on there. I think XYZ is on there. We're still waiting to hear from Doro and Faster Pussycat. I got to double check some emails, but we're trying to keep the same lineup.
Okay. Well, I mean, ACK is always available. Just so you know.
Excellent. All right.
You know, nice little fucking Ace Frehley tribute to kick the day off, right? I'm just saying.
Hell yeah. You can always play in the Rainbow, too, that same night. You know, be a part of it. We'll get you on the flyer.
Oh, dude, that would be awesome. I'd geek out. What bands, people always point at like, well, it's for Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's what ruined the fucking 80s rock. If you guys have to look at bands from the genre, and Rayen, I know you have a theory on this, which is why you brought this show idea up. But if you guys look at the bands from the 80s that you want to point at and go, yeah, it's because of bands like that where that's why it ended. Are there any ones that you can pick out?
I'll take Wild Boys for 500. I love Wild Boys. I don't want to cry no more. Roll the dice. When I found that CD, it was like a 1992 release. I was like, they're still doing it. These guys still have the faith. Okay, they're keeping the faith, keeping it going. But that was like the third, fourth tier glam rock band. I still love all that shit though.
So you're asking what kind of took it out? Bands that took it out?
Yeah.
I think everybody wants a magical moment, but I think it was a process that started with like Guns N' Roses, who we love, obviously started out glam and they fucking quit, right? One video glam. Then they turned it down and they were kind of in that, you had Guns played on Headbangers Ball with Soundgarden And as they did that, let's face it, Guns N' Roses and crew were leading us through the 80s. They were our leaders.
Yep.
Nicky's hair got flatter. Nicky's hair got browner. More motorcycles, less glam. It all started, in the same songs. But that was the start of things turning down. And then, Nicky's confusion. You're confused. Crew wanted to be Soundgarden. They throw out Vince, and Axl fucking went and hid for and made this album for a bazillion years, and they left it's like when you leave the kids in control of the store. Everybody steals the shit and the store gets closed. We were all in charge of it. Well, they fucking spun out, and eventually I think that was a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it how some of these glam bands, they try to just, do a grungy album. So Warrant put out some good stuff. I even like Dawkins' Dysfunctional. But I'm blanking on the Warrant album, the Belly to Belly, or that's not it. The one with
Dog Eat Dog with Machine Gun started
that wasn't grunge though. That was heavy as fuck.
I know, but I made the same mistake. You were like, we're like Mother Love Bone. That's kind of glam. We can fit and exist in this way, but that wasn't the emotion. I didn't want Jamie. I wanted to hear about pussy, not a machine gun and fucking like cover. It's dark, man. That's not what we were looking for. And I did the same thing. I mean, because all those bands could play, so you just thought you were going to fit in, but you're not. You're not. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, I guess I hear machine gun. I think he's talking about his cock.
Well, you have to all admit that the Andy Warhol was right, and the little intro where the kid is like being weird and creepy.
Yeah.
This wasn't Warrant. I love that record, but I think that was a struggle of leaving Bo Hill, who was more of a pop producer, a songwriting producer, to Michael Wagner, who is a legend, who let those guys kind of have a little bit more of a free reign to kind of follow the trend, and he didn't hold them back. But just songwriting like Let It Rain, Sad Teresa, Bonfire. I go back to Warrant was the first band. Every country band has a song called Bonfire. Warrant was the first band to have a song called Bonfire. That record had a lot of great moments, but it just was weird. But Ultraphobic, Jake, I think is
that's
the one
that's
you're
the
talking
one.
about. Yeah, that one had like the last song was a song called Stronger Now, which was, I think,
it's a tearjerker.
It's unbelievable. But the rest of the record felt like they were chasing it. But Izzy, are you ready for my theory on why glam rock ended?
Yes. But
all right.
Before you say this, I'm going to say this about the Motley John Corabi record. You take John off and you put Vince on. A lot of those songs, they sound like Vince songs with John singing them.
Blackboard Jungle was in A&M actually when they were making that record. And it's funny because Tommy one time sat down and was like, I like your bass playing, let's jam. And he sat at Brett Bradshaw from Faster Pussycat, was in our band, and he goes, oh, I don't have my tennies. So I was this fucking close to jamming at A&M. Tommy, but I remember he loaned us all his drums, and they weren't tuned because it was all sampled. But I do remember they built the record, overhearing them talk, around Tommy's drums. That record is built. They said, this is our strong point. This is what we're going to build it around. You know what I mean? It's
right. Do you guys agree with me though? You hear those songs? Can you hear Vince singing some of those songs?
Well, the subject is hammered, just like one of downer subjects. It wasn't about pussy, hooligan. Right. It was down where fucking rock was up. Guns could be down, but it just didn't have the spirit. Right. And we all, and now looking back, I love Carnival of Souls. You love those fucked up records. They're fucking great. But at the time it was just like,
yeah. Well, I mean, Rayen, I swear to God, I'm going to get to that fucking theory.
All good, brother.
And I'm watching this one of those things last night, and Vince is talking about it, and it's like exactly what I've been saying for fucking years. The 80s stuff, it was about the party, it was about the pussy, it was about the drugs, it was about the fun. We know how bad our life is. It was our escape from it. Then on the 90s come around, and I mean, it happens every fucking decade. You get those, like you said at the beginning of the show, it's like those first couple years, it's the crossover, and then it changes. All of a sudden it went to the Seattle sound, which was fucking a town where it fucking rains almost every fucking day. So it's going to be more dreary. The drug of choice is heroin instead of cocaine. It's like, yeah, my life sucks. I don't want to hear you sing about it. Yeah, that's why I was never able to grasp onto that fucking sound.
Do you remember Dale Gloria? Does everybody know Dale Gloria?
Yeah.
Obviously, Dale has broke Guns N' Roses, Jane's Addiction, countless bands. I mean, she was, you know, and I remember walking with her to see, I think the movie Ghost down Hollywood Boulevard. She said, just break up your band because economically, socially, everything's going to go to the garage. It's just because she had seen 70s punk, she had seen everything, and she was right. She was booking. I went to her show, and it was Mookie Blaylock, which was Pearl Jam, playing with Alice in Chains. She knew and it makes sense. I guess economically, socially, it just had to happen.
Yeah. All right, Rand, take it.
Well, Britt, before I take it full on, this is a question I meant to ask earlier because of where you come from. Tell me how important tell me any of the urban legends, because they were a club band. How do you think Twisted Sister fits into the equation of 80s, being from Jersey and New York area?
Well, as a kid, your babysitters and everything, biker babysitters were going to see Twisted Sister with a different singer. So you just do legends. And Twisted Sister, I remember hearing this thing about someone went to a show and Dee Snider said, this ain't a movie. That's where I thought I took the license that you can jump out and kick someone's ass. That he said, I can fucking come out of this fucking stage. This is not a movie. And they were just a biker-based band that was just fucking, just what we all dream of from the ground up, just took it over. So then I think Twisted Sister were just, I had it on Gem Records, the dual. So wait, what was the question again? I'm getting excited.
No, because we all grew up with the urban legend. I argue with people that Twisted Sister was a machine because they played clubs for 10 years before they got their break, and that they were ready to eat anybody's lunch because they had played for one person to 10,000 people, and they were a machine. Now, I think a lot of egos and conflicts and stuff, but just being from that region, like it's fair to ask me about Firehouse because they came from here. But I am such a Twisted Sister fan. I got the Come Out and Play logo on my arm.
I fucking love Firehouse.
But I could tell you some Firehouse stories. But I was just curious as a fan what it was like growing up in the shadows of that band, or was it, or am I wrong? Was the shadow gone by the time you kind of came around?
Oh no, as a kid, I got there was legends about this band. I bought that Gem Records was Shoot 'Em Down. Like at that point, you could buy every heavy metal record. You know what I mean? You could pretty much buy. And they had Under the Blade, and I got it. And me and Kenny would cover Shoot 'Em Down as kids, and then they came out with Stay Hungry, and it was just like fucking like brutal, like people with the fucking bone on the cover and everything. They were fucking, and then they had when Twisted Sister really hit us all, they had an MTV concert. You guys remember when MTV used to have like Ozzy concert, and they had a Twisted Sister fucking with the fucking fences and What You Don't Know Can't Hurt You, and D just came out like a fucking beast, man, like Roth or something, just fucking, they're gods. And
so in your area there were gods, like in my mind they were like the shit up that way.
Oh yeah, and I did a lot of fucked up shit to go to concerts as a kid because I'd always have bad grades, like bomb scares and shit. And one of the only concerts I called a bomb scare into my school to try to see Billy Squire and Def Leppard, so I wouldn't get my report card wouldn't go home, and the school got evacuated, and I still got a fucking report card, FBI there, so I did fucked up shit, so I missed that. My bomb scare didn't, because my mom would have known everybody got the report card and shit. It was like a Friday thing, but that concert I didn't get to, and I didn't get to see fucking the Power Slave Maiden to a Radio City Music Hall, fucking Twisted Sister at the height of Anarchy open for Maiden, would have crushed it.
Wow.
Well, I have a unique thought, and I've never really shared it, but considering I'm amongst legends as yourself, I want to run this theory by you. Everybody on the surface says Nirvana killed glam rock or grunge killed glam rock, and it's easy to say that. But what I think is, in the 70s you had Van Halen, who gave the formula of the blonde-haired 4-member band that could, because you had guitar players that could strive to be Eddie, and a lot of them did. Like, you look at the Steve Vais and all that world, you had these great guitar players in the 80s, and the blonde frontmen like Vince Neil and even Stevie from Tough and even early Faster Pussycat. They were all chasing that whole thing, but some of them would add dynamics of the glam of Alice Cooper, Sweet, Kiss, and they kind of had a hodgepodge. And I think in the mid 80s, as the crew kind of we're coming off Shout. I think Poison put out a debut that is flawless. I will maintain to this day that Look What the Cat's Dragged In was a flawless record. And I think they set the tone for the second half of the 80s. The four-man band, pop songs that Poison ushered in Bon Jovi. Poison ushered in a lot of the pop rock 80s hair metal band like Warrant and stuff like that we all like too.
Absolutely.
But towards the end, you had fucking Godzilla, Guns and fucking Roses come along. And any sort of medium you look at, when somebody perfects it, okay, the debut album still sold more records than anything in that era. So mathematically, you can't argue that record wasn't the best record. But what I think really made glam disappear was November Rain. The fact that Axl put an opus together with an orchestra, with string section, with a horn section, with opera sections, and this video that looked like a Martin Scorsese movie. The average four guys on the Sunset Strip could not compete with that. They could not go to Sound City or Sunset Sound and make a record that sounded like November Rain. So in my opinion, November Rain made all the guys on the Strip go, well, I can't do that, but you know what I can do? There's this new band called Nirvana who barely plays 4 fucking chords, and I can chase that now. And I think that was the end of glam rock. I think November Rain was the nail in the coffin of glam rock. And I want to hear your argument.
I mean, I love the fun. I mean, I was like, it wasn't what it was. I mean, Axl was just a god. I mean, I loved it. It didn't, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I know my feeling wasn't that. I think I think that Guns offered the lifestyle, and it just fucking Nirvana. All of a sudden, the Contempo Casuals was selling fucking, dude, and chicks like guys in fucking grunge bands. We weren't cool anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you just want to be cool. And hot chicks like, even when I was a kid, Blackboard Jungle, hot chicks like Gene Loves Jezebel and The Cult. They didn't like what I liked, so you kind of got a little bit. But that's how you ended up with the vein. They're like, well, chicks on Hate Street like The Cult and shit. And Jet Boy's like, you know, we're going to mix that with this. And this fucking thing occurred. Fucking, yeah, Seattle was just, you know, I mean, just a part of it. I think that someone I was asking that the song had just been sung. And maybe it was bloated at that point. But I don't even think November's Rain it was over.
I just think that set a bar that the average strip band could get a great guitar player and a good-looking blonde front guy and compete with Van Halen. They could do that and compete with Poison if their songs were good. But when November Rain come out, when you saw the video, the everything, the guys in the bands go, you know what? I can't compete with that, but I can go buy flannel and hang out with the chicks that like these other bands. That's a pivot I can make, because I can't go into Sound City with an orchestra and a chorus of fucking angels singing background vocals and get Martin Scorsese to shoot a film where Axl throws a guitar off a church. I just think that any genre, I think when it reaches its peak, and I think November Rain was its peak. And what was the other song? Estranged. I think those two back to back kind of like sealed it for 80s rock, because those guys had to chase Guns N' Roses because they set the bar. And that was a bar that could not be chased. I think it was just such a high level that made people go, like Alice in Chains go, you know, I love those guys, but I think mentally, probably you look at that and go, I can't chase that, but I can down tune my guitar and throw some flannel on and play some harder, you know, music.
Well, let's not forget, sorry to interrupt this, but let's not forget that Alice in Chains is kind of the bridge. Because Man in the Box, that record came out before fucking Nirvana came out, you know.
But
and that was what set the tone, and that's what led over that bridge. All of a sudden, rolling over bands like Tough and Stevie. I love you to death, but you're one of those fucking bubble bands that aren't the fucking A-B list. That you start to go down that list. You know, you got your Toughs, you got your, and I love the Trickster guys to death, but, you know, they're in that same fucking boat. It's like, it was, even though they were kind of, you know, this weird East Coast.
Think about,
but you got that bridge that Alice in Chains started, because they're fucking Man in the Box is nothing like we had ever heard before. Then you take that bridge over and bam, there's fucking Nirvana.
Izzy, tell me this. Tell me a band, a Trickster. I love Trickster. Steve
I
Brown,
do too.
I think, is underrated. 1 in a Million, great song.
100%.
You know, all that. I love that band. No disrespect. but could Trickster get in a room and compete with Guns N' Roses after
No,
November
absolutely
Rain?
not. That's why but
That's
Guns
why
N' Roses,
these
like
bands-
I said, Guns N' Roses is up in that fucking A list. Trickster, their fucking CD list. And that's not a rip on those guys.
Those are fighting words.
I love Trickster, yeah.
I love
I do
those
too.
guys. I'm friends with those guys. But let's be honest. And fucking Tough, they have one song. Nobody other than anybody in this room can really name one song other than fucking I Hate Kissing You Goodbye.
I can name 10 songs off
outside of this room. Outside of this room.
Oh, okay.
No, but think about it. But when Tough and those guys were at their peak, and then you had to compete, because everything, think about the bar was set. Motley set the bar that you could compete with. Poison set the bar you could kind of compete with. All these bands, but Guns N' Roses come along and they were Godzilla. You could not compete with them. And so I think the bands go, well, if that's what I'm competing with, that's just not even fair, because they perfected that genre. They took the best of punk, rock, sleaze, glam, pop, that AC/DC kind of just great songwriting, in your face fun stuff, and they, like to Britt's point, on top of it, they gave you a lifestyle. You wanted to wear a Guns N' Roses t-shirt because that meant something. And at that point, bands, I think, in talking to some of those people I've become friends with over the years, they were like, and on Sunset Strip going, how the fuck we gonna compete with that? Who's gonna give us a demo to make an 8-minute opus? And fuck, we can't write that. We're writing Poison tunes. And I think that kind of set the stage for a lot of acts to make the transition into being more of a grunge act, because grunge, you could chase it. But Guns N' Roses were so perfected, you couldn't chase it anymore. And that's 100% out of respect, because Guns N' Roses is one of my favorite bands.
I get it. I just think that it's you can't even compare anything to Guns.
Greatest band that ever existed. Yeah.
Guns N' Roses into Guns N' Roses. They couldn't even follow November Rain. What did they do after November Rain?
But you also got to remember, it was all changing. There was a fucking depression coming. We were going to fucking war. It was all changing. And then, like Tall Bear says, Tesla Jackal at the end of the 80s, Tesla didn't sound like anybody in the fucking 80s. Tesla was fucking amazing. Jackal was more of a fucking raw, in your face, whip your cock out fucking band. I
love all those guys.
That's what it eventually led into, because it had to end at some point. But
tell me, what has Guns done since November Rain?
It doesn't matter.
It does. We're talking about the end of it. We're talking about the end. I'm telling you where the end stopped. After that, they are still chasing that record. I believe that's my theory, and a lot of people would disagree. But as a kid looking back, I remember when that record come out, and I even thought as a teenager, I can't compete with that. I could write Look What the Cat Dragged In, but I can't write November Rain. That was just such a level up of the music.
Well,
that it was hard to compete.
It would be like fucking when the White Album comes out, trying to write the fucking White Album. You just don't.
They peaked, yeah.
I also think like the 80s kind of ended because it's, the party was over. It's like, how long can you show this masculinity by wearing spandex for and putting on makeup? It was all just like,
I have no idea what
the gig was kind of up,
I think Jake's right, and your point is totally valid, Ray. I think that like two things, man. MTV dictated fucking everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Was like, you're out. I mean, you know what I mean? Like MTV stopped. I mean, that's your fucking done. We all revolved, around MTV. We were all, and the thing is, guys in 80s bands, and I think this is one of my only things I was cool with, love being worshipped. Other things, other forms of music, Robin Trower can go, I'm not number one right now, I'm going to kick it. Fucking 80s bands were like, no, I need to be worshipped like Alice in Chains. Nobody, they couldn't go like, like we're going to do a few theater tours now out of arenas. They had a meltdown. It was a meltdown. They couldn't, the whole thing was about being lifted up. Like other bands could take, just like anything, comedians, people could take the kick down. Jake sees it every day when like, people are like, we're cool with playing at the Whisky, or we're pissed with playing at the Whisky because we used to do arenas. There's two types of bands that load in, right?
I'd say everyone's usually, no one really comes in with a bad attitude. And, you know, but I can definitely see how a band, you know, not giving any names, that played huge tours and now they're playing the Whiskey. But I feel like I treat them so well, and I'm just like, I love you guys. Welcome back.
Yeah, that makes sense. I opened for Dokken once in one of my rock bands, and Mick Brown did the fucking sound check going 1, 2, stop playing shitty clubs and play arenas again. 1, that was how we was fucking sound checking. Is this dude wanted fucking Corvettes, limos, and cocaine? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Wild
you wanna
Mick,
turn
man.
into fucking Sebastian. Dude, there was Jack Daniels and cocaine. Ooh, speaking of Jack Daniels, Stacy checking in the chat room. She goes, I see the point. Totally new game. Now what? Nobody wants to hear the fun guys sing about teen spirit. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't want to hear fucking Trickster singing fucking.
But that's what they tried to do. Yeah, a lot of those bands tried that.
Absolutely.
Well, shit, the 80s went out with a bang and fighting and ugly. Grunge in the 90s just kind of did. I mean, I know it's still that. They went out with the fucking, like, whoo, did it even fucking happen? It went out with the whip.
Did you ever see
fighting and dying.
Did you ever see that Mad TV bit about it was Eddie Vedder, Scott Sapp. I'll send it to you guys. It is fucking hilarious. It is. It's like they're all on boats, and they're all doing their little fucking 90s grunge fucking thing, and there's like, fuck, it's gold.
I said, why don't we start a grunge fucking metal school? And we're like all OD on stage and shit. I mean, you could fucking a grunge version of metal school. I mean, why? You know what I mean? Because it just wouldn't be as fun as metal or Steel Panther, whatever they're called. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. I mean, I think the greatest thing that could happen to rock right now, I was saying, is I think Kiss should show up in full makeup. They should take all the makeup off, the opposite of what they did when they fucking came on Lick It Up, and then go out and start playing fucking, non-makeup Kiss.
They'll be playing theaters again.
I would go see that, by the way. I remember
I would be more okay seeing that than seeing them in makeup with Tommy and Eric in Peter and Ace's fucking makeup. But
And also, they're just fucking dumb. Dokken is so fucking good that Don and George can't just get it the fuck together with Jeff Nielsen and fuck Dokken, amazing band. I just want to fucking see him rock.
I hear you, man. I feel like Jeff's busier than all of them with Foreigner now, but like it's not off the table. That reunion might happen one day.
Yeah, Dokken's getting better with time. Like, holy shit, this shit's insanely good.
Except for Don.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's out of that video this week of him not doing. But I mean, they're rock dummies. We were all rock dummies. I mean, it's a dumb sport. I mean, disco was. How did disco end? In a blur of cocaine. And remember, disco sucks. Well, now disco's fucking great. I can play disco to any age and people light up, man. You know what I mean?
Bee Gees fucking real. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, but we didn't say that we're into AC/DC and rap. There was a time that was not.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
To your credit, what you're saying about Kiss, whenever I was in the Wednesday band and we were on our first tour, we did all the festivals in Europe, and we did one in, I want to say it was Germany. I'm pretty sure it was with Motley Crue, Slayer, Manson, a bunch of bigger bands that like I was a nerding out to. And I get backstage and we're hanging out in the festival room, and I hear nothing but like Crazy Nights and God Gave Rock and Roll to You, and it was coming out of the Slipknot dressing room. And every night on that tour, they had an 80s Kiss party. Nothing from 70s, nothing from the 90s, just all 80s Kiss. And in the room, when I walked in, was the guys in Slipknot, some of the Manson dudes, John Legend, the R&B singer. They were all rocking the 80s Kiss.
Amazing. So, I mean, it's amazing. And to me, I think the greatest place on earth, and if I fucking die, I hope they put is the Rainbow. Seriously, I think it's the greatest fucking
I agree.
place on earth.
That's like our spot. That's our Mecca right there. Like I have no other place to go. It's just the Rainbow. Like I go in there, I know people. It's like, that's my cheers.
I've toured through relationships. I had my 50th birthday. I could have went to Belize. I went with fucking 5 guys to the fucking Rainbow because it's it's the great. You want to fucking go before it ever burns down. You got a fucking mural of Lemmy. You got people still getting head in the bathroom. It's fucking outlaw. It's the greatest. I mean, you got the Whiskey, the Viper, and that's all fucking great, but it supports that fucking. That's just magic, and it's still there. You can have someone say Marilyn Manson next to a guy imitating Marilyn Manson. It's fucking the best.
Exactly. Look, Rainbow, I consider home. It's home for me. I fucking love that place. And to know that 2 years ago I went there for my birthday, and they gave me the fucking back table, the back corner table,
The November
table.
Rain booth.
Yes, the November. They gave me that fucking booth, and I felt so special that night, and all the managers always take care of me when I'm there, and it means the fucking world to this little fucking skinny fat dork from St. Cloud, Minnesota, who's 47 years old and has the body of a pregnant WNBA player, that they fucking treat him like he's something special. And I fucking love that, and I appreciate that, and I love that place.
We got to go soon, man. It's still open. Patio dining.
Oh.
Shout out to Anthony. He's my buddy who's one of the managers there. Anthony's great. And one thing that I will clear this up for people, because the Rainbow documentary, you hear Matt Sorum talking about, hey, once you're in the clique, they create a safe space for musicians. And Anthony, last year when I got married, put my photo up as a gift from the Rainbow, from coming for 20 something years. He saw my pictures with Mario and Mike and everything, and he a legit history. And he goes, when we put your photo up, call us if you ever need the room. 4 months later, I called him like, hey, I got this idea. I want to shoot Bobby Brown walking through for a cameo for this Warrant remake. He goes, hold on a minute. And he's like, Big Mike, got this guy. He goes, his photo's in the front booth. He goes, yeah, tell him to be here at 12. Totally, still to this day, has our backs. That place has our back like no other, and it's ground zero between the Rainbow and the Whisky. If somebody out there is watching, has never paid a visit to those areas, that one little 300-yard block is where rock and roll.
Yeah,
you can't
And
escape.
shout
It's
out
like
to
the
Big
comedy
Mike.
store.
Big Mike's my boss. That's Mario's grandson. So he pretty much allows me to book all my favorite bands. So that dude rules.
Yeah, those guys, awesome.
Yeah, they play whatever the fuck they got to do. We all go everywhere. That place is fucking magical, and I'm not just ball licking. I go I live in Northern California. It's like 5 hours, 6 hours. And when you come to that little fucking section, the Viper Room, the Whiskey, it's all great. But the fucking Rainbow, you can fucking eat and listen to Motley Crue. And there's a fucking statue to a methed out rock star. I'm sorry, Lemmy's great, but a fucking statue, motherfucker. It's fucking out of fucking control still. There's still madness there. It's still, it's like the ocean. It's the unknown. Every time you walk through those doors, you don't know what the fuck's might be exciting, boring. You just don't fucking know.
As a waiter there, my first day there, I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, who am I going to meet? I'm in the kitchen. I'm marrying ketchups, putting the ketchups together. It's 10 a.m. I got my apron on. I'm wiping down tables. The first guy that comes in, I'm like, oh my God. My favorite group growing up was Digital Underground. This guy walks in. He's hungover. He's like, hey, I left my keys here last night. It was Humpty Hump.
Oh my!
I was like, Humpty Hump. I'm like, dude, holy shit! And I gave him his keys. And that was my first 10 minutes working at the Rainbow. I'm like, this is gonna be a good run.
That's awesome.
Jake,
before we go any further, I want to say this publicly. I want to thank you too for the Whiskey and everything that you always fucking take care of me, and thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, you got it, man. Thank you guys.
I'm proud to call you my friend.
Hey,
Can't wait for some
real
live
quick,
music so we can all rock out.
On a side note, is your Instagram Jake on Sunset?
Yes, it is.
I'm the Nerd Locations guy. We talk back and forth.
Oh, that's you. What's up, man?
That's me. Yeah,
I had no
Izzy
idea.
knows about it. Yeah, I'm a nerd for pop culture, so I go take photos in Hollywood and all that stuff. But Jake has been kind enough to send me a couple of, hey, this might not be the right place kind of things, which I appreciate. But it just dawned on me. I was like, I think you're the guy I've been talking to on Instagram.
Well, you know what? Your head's always cut off. I would never even know that was you. That's so funny.
That's me. So next time I come to LA, I want to come document the Whiskey. I want to come see this. I played there 100 times, but I've never documented the place. So
absolutely, man. Well, hey, nice to finally meet you.
We all need to make a road trip to the Twin Pines Mall.
Absolutely. Back to the Future.
Wait,
That's
what's?
about 30 minutes away.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. Hitting the chat room really quick before we wrap this up. Stacy says, "Glam was fun. I can't hear Brett and want to slit my wrists." Yeah, see, There you go. Tall Bear says, Chasing the Black album, Use Your Illusion, Slave to the Grind in the same year. Dude, we didn't even talk about fucking Skid Row other than my fucking horrible Baz impression tonight.
Damn, get on the tour with Pantera, that tour, I think.
I saw
Subhuman Race, my bad.
I saw Sebastian Bach from Pantera at the Limelight when Blackboard Jungle was on tour with, like, it was a mixture of Phil wasn't there. And there was Benji Gordon, who was, he signed Soul Asylum. He said something smart. And I'm sorry, I love that first Skid Row album. I grew up in New Jersey. He goes,
how can you not?
He goes, and this, I think this holds true to fucking Skid Row. When a band says they're getting heavier, that means they're going to get more amps and less songs. You know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean? Dude, I really think about it. Dokken has gotten better in my eyes. Monkey Business is a corny-ass title. They just got corny. It's good, but it's just not. Sebastian got a fucking pass. He got this metal pass. And I asked my friend Jamie, I go, why did Sebastian get that pass? And he goes, because he wasn't afraid of banging his head and losing his hoop earrings, and the rest of the guys were.
Yeah. I maintain, and you guys tell me if I'm crazy. Musically, I'm crazy, but I maintain the last great 80s influence, crazy 4-piece just band that all the members mattered was Pantera.
I love Pantera, so
yeah.
I agree. Great band.
But what was a band that came after them that had the spirit of just sex, drugs, rock and roll? The 4-piece band that made that much of an impact. It's hard. I've maintained they were the last great band of that generation. And even though they were metal, they were still, if you watch their videos, they were still just Kiss fans and Van Halen freaks.
That's what I love about those guys is they were fans of everybody. They went to see fucking Nickelback every time they fucking came to town. They were friends with Nickelback, and people want to rip on Nickelback all they want, but you do what they did. Then you talk to me. But it's like, that's the great thing. They were just such fucking fans, and they had the Stanley Cup at their house.
Wow. I'm just getting my head. My friend Jack the bass player of the Pumpkins, like you see I do my metal show. I had a fight against metal like that and Megadeth and Metallica, but in the name of Rat and Bon Jovi and Motley Crue my whole life growing up. So I've just these past few months realized how great those bands are. And just, I mean, like it was that's the Crips to me, but I'm finally the Gang Truce and I'm letting it in. And I play Symphonies of Destruction by fucking Megadeth. I'm like, whoa, this is good. I was just like fucking Dokken, Rat, Crew, Warrant, you know, I no other shit.
Britt, by the way, I'm ready to be jumped into your gang, brother.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Am I right? I did a thing. It was fucking gang. And you had to choose a fucking team. Once Rat came out, choose a fucking team, man. You can't fight.
Dude, it was fucking Pantera.
Oh, I like them.
Jake, I propose that you and I and Izzy meet next time that Blackboard does a reunion show and let Britt and the boys jump us into the Blackboard gang out back of the Viper room. What do you think?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
I'm ready.
No. We will just sit. This will be the best. This This will fucking clear the table and see who's a lifer. We'll sit down and talk Firehouse because I think it's more punk rock is a dude that can say he likes Firehouse. Punk rock's not fucking
dude, I
call it post-metal denial. Yeah, some guy in post-metal denial that grew up on fucking Poison and now says he grew up on The Damned. I grew up with you, bro. I never heard you listen to that shit. Firehouse is punk rock. Winger is punk rock.
This is the best Firehouse story ever. So a couple of years ago, I'm with Don Jameson. I drove him to Stone Cold Steve Austin's house so Don could do Stone Cold's fucking podcast, right? And if you go back and listen to it, you hear me on there a couple times, and you know Stone Cold references me and lets me talk for a second and pimp my shit. Afterwards, we're sitting around bullshitting, and just Don and Steve are talking about like a super heavy fucking band. He goes, and I'll see Steve stops. He goes, God damn it, I don't want to ruin my rep with you guys, but God damn it, I love Firehouse. Those are our bros.
I love it.
Dude, Firehouse started in Charlotte, which is 20 minutes away from where I'm at. And they started, CJ Snare was discovered by a woman named Debbie Jett Jennings, who lives here as well. And when he was singing at a Holiday Inn off Wilkinson Boulevard, he was doing like R&B covers. But she was like, "You are a star." And she hooked him up with Bill Leverty, and they started a band. Which in today's terms, I don't know if they could get away with the title. It may come across slightly, I don't know if it's awesome or racist, but their band name was White Heat. And,
not racist.
No. I'm making a joke. Like
Tony Catan movie, I think.
No, those guys. But when they hit the scene, they went so far. It was just like they eclipsed Charlotte in a day. Like they just went. The moment they clicked, White Heat got taken on. I want to say Dana Strum, I think, took him under his took him under his wing and said, the White Heat name's not going to work. We got to switch that up. And that's how it started. But those guys, Love of a Lifetime, Don't Treat Me Bad, with all the stuff they had.
Don't they have something about Tumble too? I've been playing lately.
Take and Tumble. What about Firehouse 3? Great album.
Yeah.
Two sides. Something about your body. I could go on all night.
Yeah, no, and when I was in the 90s, people were like trying to be cool by liking this shitty band with Mike Watts, in my eyes, shitty Fire Hose. I was like, no, I like Firehouse, not Fire Hose.
You're like, what's this typo?
Yeah, I've had that same problem.
Oh, there was an SST record store across. Pat Smear was working there at the time, across from the Viper, when it was first being built. Man, all those Fire Hose and SST I'm sure that shit's great, but it's just fucking Firehouse. It's just fucking, oh man.
Britt, you got to tell us, just to circle back, because I feel like you were about to tell us a great 1988 Walking Into the Rainbow story, and I think maybe I cut you off by accident. Can we revisit that? Because I love these stories, man. Do you have a really 80s Sunset Strip rainbow story?
I can get before the rainbow, and I don't know if am I allowed to go anywhere, Izzy, on this? Or is
anywhere you want, brother.
Okay, so this will probably make me hated. So I'm a kid in New Jersey. I'm fucking calling the rainbow just because it's in the uncensored, just to hear them answer the fucking phone, dude. I am so obsessed with this Sunset Strip vision. I have no idea. So we finally moved there. We've got our band Filthy Rich. We're going to play the Roxy in 1989. We're going to go on after Pretty Boy Floyd, the Zeros, Pretty Boy Floyd, Filthy Rich. No one's there when we play. Right. But we go in the BAM building, which is at Highland. We get our fucking flyers printed up. I've got my hair, I got a fucking cowboy hat like Stevie. I fucking get off the RTD. We're living down on Bronson. I get off the fucking RTD at fucking Clark. Some girl pulls me across the fucking AM/PM with my flyers, and me and my friends walk over, and she goes, "Hey, I want to blow you." And I go, "Okay." She takes my pants. She starts blowing me in front of everybody at the AM/PM. And in my head, I'm like, I am fucking Nikki Sixx. This place is as good. That never happened again. And then I went and flyered. I'm like, this shit is out of control. I'm fucking in. This is so better than Marlboro, New Jersey. I love the Sunset Strip. Fucking yeah. I know that's great, but I was just like, and it just walked away. That didn't happen in New Jersey.
You can't top that fucking thing. You can't top that story, and you're not going to get that from some phony fucking hosehead up in fucking Montreal. You're getting it right here on another fucking podcast.
There you go.
Rayen, why don't you pimp your shit before we go?
Well, Early Ray, EARLYRAY.com. We got a new single, which is a reimagining of the Warrant classic Cherry Pie. It's a country version called Apple Pie. Still has all the rock guitars, all the attitude. Video has got the rainbow in it. Bobby Brown makes a return as the Cherry Pie Girl for the first time in 30 years. Got Stevie Rochelle, another Sunset Strip legend, working the record. And so go check out Apple Pie by Early Ray. That's what I'm into.
Oh, fucking Britt, why don't you pimp your shit as well?
Okay, you can look at Britt Pennella. I have a show on Sundays called Metal Social Sunday. That's just a fucking heavy metal party. I thought I had my lighter. I light firecrackers. I swing fucking nunchucks and listen to heavy metal. Instagram kicks you off after a minute and a half of any song, so I gotta fucking get in and out before the solo. It's fucking complete just anarchy, man. We had PJ from Trickster on. We had Early Ray. We had Todd Kearns from Slash's band on the other. It's just fucking nuts.
Todd Kearns is going to be on next week when I talk Canadian bands. We get all fucking hosehead. We're going fucking Canadian
What's this
next
band
week.
cover fucking Alda Nova? That record's crushing.
Dude,
Oh,
we're gonna talk Killer Dwarfs for an hour. It's gonna be great.
Don't forget Honeymoon Suite.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Honeymoon Suite. Jake, you got some shit going on other than, just the whiskey and the bow. You're writing some shit. Why don't you pimp that shit while you're
Oh,
at
yeah.
it?
Well, you guys can follow me on Instagram. It's Jake on Sunset. And in my free time, I just started interviewing and writing some articles for this website. It's called LRM Online. But you can I post them all on my Instagram. So check them out there. I just interviewed the main guy, Crew Jones from Rad. Yesterday morning, I interviewed Mr. Natural Olympia, Corbin Burnson. I got a bunch of them lined up. I just wrote an article on Fletch, one of my favorite Chevy Chase movies of all time. So Jake on Sunset, give me a follow.
You gotta get.
Thank you so much, man.
You got to get Jimmy Keegan, the man who was in not only Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo, but also Over the Top.
I'm on it.
You know who Jimmy is? Drummer. He plays in all the jams.
No, I don't know.
I can hook you up. I'll fucking hook you up.
All right, cool.
All
Love
right,
it.
check all those guys out. Make sure you guys go ahead.
See you guys. That was all she wrote.
Hold on.
Firehouse.
Hold on. We're not done. Oh, speaking
I'm
of
gonna
Firehouse,
fucking buy a shirt, man. I'll have a shirt in 2 weeks. A fucking vintage.
Speaking of Firehouse, I texted CJ tonight, and he was sick, or else he would have fucking did it. So, but these brand new shirts are available for only $30. Just message me on fucking PayPal, izzypresley@yahoo.com. We'll fucking get that.
Firehouse for life. Firehouse for fucking life. Odin.
Jeff Duncan gave me this little trinket from '83.
Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board. I don't have the music playing because Rayen, because you're here, I'm gonna play fucking Apple Pie again, and we're gonna play the whole goddamn thing when we're done talking.
Hell yeah.
At Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and post the show pages and other podcast. PayPal is izzypresley@yahoo.com if you like what we do. And there's also a Teespring store with fucking shirts for a tribute to Israeli and all that shit. Just go check it out. Yes, there's masks too if you want to wear a fucking mask. You want to be one of them? One of them people protecting yourself. There are masks available there. Podcast and act masks. All right. We'll be back next week talking Canadian bands with Todd Kearns from Slash's band, hopefully a member of the Killer Dwarfs and a couple more. My name is Izzy Presley, and don't forget, what a lacking talent I make up for in college.